lag.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always a little bit of a lag. But we've got Nate joining us on this session of Cover Your Assets, and of course we've got Braden and Lance here with us.
Hello.
Talking over custom D&D content.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've had a little bit of feedback from our gun rules that we went over last week, and I think we've got a couple of things on that because of that we want to address and talk about. We'll get to that probably later. We are also planning to look into or at least get started on our version of a gunslinger to go along with the gun rules.
Yes.
I think Braden, however, wanted to start off with some really golden gems from the D&D Wiki. So
Yes.
we're going to let him take it away
So-
and start with that.
Last episode, we were asked to do D&D Wiki reviews. So, naturally, I looked some up.
Of course you did.
We'll start with classes, because I feel that would be quite funny. So, I'm going to quickly, I'm going to pick this one.
Oh, I should have had a browser open so we could follow along on
That's what I
screen.
was just thinking.
Give me a second.
Okay. Well, we don't have anyone watching at the moment, so I don't think...
Boy, you're awfully optimistic.
Yeah, but you know...
Oh, we have 3 viewers. Hello, everyone.
Posterity. Come on. So give me a second here.
We have 3 viewers. That's good. I'll give you all a second to, I'll give Keith a second so he can figure out how he's going to pull up a browser. I have no idea.
It's not that difficult.
It's not that hard at all.
Most people just, double click on the browser icon. Usually.
Yes, but with my computer, it takes that 2 hours to happen.
You are a special case. You are not wrong.
Yep.
Mama said I was special. That's why I was put into class.
Will you message me the links for these D&D articles we're going to go over so I can pull them up on my phone?
No. I'll put them in... okay, hold on.
I don't want to have to go into the chat just to get them.
Alright, I'll send you... How am I going to send it? Here we go. I'll send... Oh, don't block my beautiful face.
Give me a second.
Or do.
To resize some windows
I was
here.
gonna say, maybe if you resize the cameras.
Alright. I'll send you this one first, because this is what we're going to be... this is the D&D Wiki we're going to be looking at first. And then... Yes.
What?
Yep, that is...
No!
Yes.
No!
Yes.
Why would this exist?
I don't know why, and that's why we're doing it. So,
Did you put it
Keith,
in
are
chat?
you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Did you
Alright,
put it
I
in
will
the chat?
I'm posting it in the chat right now on the chat in the stream. And say hello to to D&D Wiki's The Dentist. 5th edition class, which you didn't know you needed. I was scrolling through them all. I'm like, are you kidding me? Why is there a dentist? So let's go over it, shall we? Let's see. Where do we start? Hit points. 1d8 per dentist level.
Dentist, dude. No
Yeah.
joke.
Light armor, simple weapons, and ranged weapons. Tools, alchemist supplies, healer's kit, herbalism kit, surgery kit, intelligence and charisma, medicine, and with skills, choose medicine and 2 of the following: deception, insight, nature, perception, or survival.
I'm not sure how I would feel about my dentist being proficient in deception.
Yes, everything's fine.
No, it won't hurt a bit.
Yeah, it won't hurt a bit. That's the deception. Equipment. You can either have a short sword, 2 daggers, or a simple weapon of your choice. You get medical clothes, which is unarmored, or padded armor, or leather armor. You get a light crossbow and 20 bolts, or a dagger, or a healer's kit. You can either have a herbalism kit or a surgery kit, and if you are using starting wealth, you have 5d4 times 10 gold in funds.
Huh.
So what do you all think so far on the dentist?
Well, I see a lot that makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, you can use like scalpels like daggers.
I guess. It's kind of like what Jordan, our friend Jordan, did Mr. Black in one of our D&D games.
Yes.
He had scalpel daggers.
Scalpels, yeah.
Yeah.
Dental tools. At first level, you are granted a pair of seemingly standard tools for your medical practices. You are given a pair of dental pliers able to grasp small objects with a vice-like grip. When used as a melee weapon, your pliers deal 1d4 plus your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus, bludgeoning damage.
Bludgeoning?
Bludgeoning damage.
Bludgeoning strength and proficiency to damage?
That's literally what it says.
That seems
That's broken.
broken. Yeah.
That's broken.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
As
no.
someone who's implemented weapons that add your proficiency bonus to damage in a game, this is
No.
broken.
Oh, it gets better. Additionally, you are given an injection needle able to administer potions or poisons. When used as a melee weapon, your needle deals 1d4 plus your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus, piercing damage, and can hold up to 4 fluid ounces of liquid, which can be injected either after making a successful melee attack with the needle against the target, or safely with no damage against a willing creature, by making a DC 12 medicine check against the target and by using a bonus action. Both tools have the light and undersized property. You may use your dexterity bonus instead of strength, but they do not count as finesse weapons, and you are proficient with them.
Okay, so finesse weapons just mean you can use your
Dex instead
Dex
of
to-
strength.
dex instead of strength.
And they're light, so
Except-
you can dual wield.
Except, the only reason I can see to stipulate it that way, which actually might be a smart move, is the sneak attack feature on rogues specifically says it only works with finessed and ranged weapons.
Ah, good point.
So
So no,
you
no
cannot
sneaky.
sneak attack with your dental pliers.
Yes.
Okay.
That's first level.
Okay.
Also on first level, you gain advantage on all medicine checks and double proficiency against your race and one other race of your choice. Knowing the basic anatomy of these creature types allow you to have an advanced understanding of how they work. They differ in size and scale as creatures change, but their organs are great similarities. The types you may choose are beast, celestials, dragons, fays, fiends, giants, humanoids, monstrosities, or undead. Now, undead don't have organs that function. But
One might argue
Yeah.
the brain functions in some of them.
Some of them, yeah. I would guess maybe some of the autonomic stuff still works, maybe, possibly. I don't know.
Now we're moving into body horror territory.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Let's not go there.
Okay, then the
So-
next
so-
ability,
So that's anatomical training,
Yeah.
and then there's also medical training.
and from what I'm reading, it just means when you use a medicine check to stabilize someone, they
Right.
get health equal to your dentist level.
Broken.
So
You can heal without.
at 20th
expending any
level,
resources.
if you go down, I can give you 20 hit points back. Now, granted, at 20th
At
level,
20th
you're probably.
Assuming that a dentist survives to 20th level.
So what are we doing? The shakiest gun in the West here?
Alright. Forced extraction. Some patients require a slightly more forceful approach during procedures. Starting at second level, if a creature is successfully grappled or restrained by any means, you can make a melee weapon attack against them. Weapon attack action against them as a bonus action to pull out one of their teeth. This attack must be made with dental pliers and require a free hand to use. This attack deals 1d4 plus your strength modifier plus your proficiency bonus damage initially and increases by 1d4 for every additional tooth extracted. 5 teeth equals 5d4 damage plus modifiers. You may pull 2 teeth as a standard action, 2d4 damage plus modifiers, provided the target is still grappled or restrained. Creatures do not have teeth or bones to extract such as oozes, plants, and some undead, can either be immune to this feature or affected in a different way to the DM's discretion.
I like this class.
Just no. I would never allow this class.
Okay, so let's just
in
stop
the
there
game.
before we even get on to what I assume is going to be pick your
Oh,
archetype.
there are some amazing
Oh,
archetypes.
yeah.
So what do we feel about this so far?
Banned.
Okay, so I
Never.
have seen a couple things I actually like.
Mhm.
The first thing is that in your equipment, you can have a light crossbow, a dagger, or a healer's kit. I like that one of the tools you're proficient with is an option in lieu of some of these other things.
Yes.
I think I could like putting that with like other classes. I think that could be cool.
That's a good idea. Let's keep that in mind going forward.
When we decide how we feel about this.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, here we go. Here we're going to the third level, which is archetypes. You choose a medical specialization. Choose between the surgeon, the
Opiodontist.
opiodontist, ooh, or the malpractitioner.
That'd be-
All are detailed at the end of the class description.
If anyone's ever played Borderlands, I'm now imagining Dr. Zed.
Yeah.
All right, fourth
Yeah.
level is ability score, as
Yeah,
well as
as
8th,
per-
12th, 16th, 19th level.
As per normal, that's fairly standard.
7th level, minor anesthetic. Minor. At 7th level, you may administer a nerve depressant to a willing creature of your choice, or yourself. The anesthesia takes 10 minutes to prepare a single dose, which is placed into your injection needle. As an action, you may pierce the target or yourself, and the following effects are received while the anesthetic is active. The target has advantage on all Constitution saving throws. They cannot be shaken or wavered or frightened while taking damage or after receiving damage. Abilities like Shadow Talons does not frighten, but abilities like Frighten Presence do. They cannot be exhausted, and do not have the and do not take exhaustion points. They do not feel most senses of pain, only small sensations, while major injuries are inflicted. Any feature/abilities that end after losing a number of hit points do not end. The effects end after 10 minutes in combat, or after 1 hour out of combat. And the target must make a DC of 12 Constitution saving throw, or gain 1 point of exhaustion, plus any they would have gained while the effects were active. I kind of like how it lets you have advantage on Constitution saving throws, but
I actually feel like it'd make it harder for you to resist other Constitution effects.
Yeah.
You know? Because
Yeah.
if you've ever had anesthetic, it kind of...
I don't even know how you're walking.
Yeah.
There should be a stipulation that your speed is halved
Yeah.
or something.
I'm not sure that whoever wrote this has ever been under anesthesia.
I feel like with that ability, you should gain major pluses, but also minor disadvantage. So you can have advantage on Constitution saving throws, but you'll have disadvantage on perception.
Disadvantage on perception at
Absolutely.
very least.
Yeah.
Mine
Like half your walking speed.
half your walking speed. Disadvantage on dexterity saves.
Yes. Which is, yeah.
Maybe advantage on strength saves. Because you
Maybe.
just don't
Feel
feel
it.
the pain.
Maybe.
And you don't know where
It's
your
like,
limit
it's
is.
like biting through your lip.
You know, it's
Maybe,
like a
yeah.
surge of adrenaline almost. You do things you're not. you
Also,
didn't think
I'd
you were
like to say
capable
that
of.
that's minor anesthetic. I don't even know if there's something called major.
I
Well-
hesitate to find out.
This should also be disadvantage on verbal components.
Oh,
Yes,
for sure.
yeah.
I would say you just can't cast spells, period. I do like...
This is something you buff the barbarian with, not
Yeah,
the
don't give it to the
spellcasters.
wizard.
I do like that any features or abilities that end after losing a number of hit points do not end while you're under the effects of this. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's although off the top of my head,
I don't know
I don't
of
know
any.
of any. So
It could be cool to say like, like Tasha's hideous laughter. It ends when you take damage. If you're under the effects of this,
okay.
it doesn't end. But it says you have to give this to a willing creature, so I don't know how useful that last thing is.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, you inject it into the barbarian or the fighter and just have at it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would see you using it for. Because if it's only a willing creature, I would say
Yeah.
give it to if it had disadvantage but advantages at the same time. Let there be a DC equal to your
So the-
whatever modifier,
Yeah.
and then you can try and inject it into an enemy, and they'll get more of the disadvantages.
So the effects almost sound like it was written to be able to be used either direction,
But they didn't implement
but they
it.
But
didn't
it's not
implement it that
implemented
way.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
So-
Studious Calling at 10th level. You've learned much in your study. It basically lets you have one thing of expertise in something.
okay.
Uh,
And so what level? So that's
That
10th
is,
level.
10th level.
That's pretty late for expertise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, given that, let's see, only bards and rogues get expertise,
Well,
and both
doesn't-
of them are kind of built
Well,
they're kind of
doesn't-
built around.
Don't
skills.
rogues get like 2 expertises?
Yeah, but they're the
yeah.
only class that
Right.
does,
Yeah.
and they get
And
theirs
they get
at
it-
third and sixth, or first
Sixth.
and sixth.
Or something like that. So that
Yeah.
is pretty late for giving them an expertise in
Yeah.
something.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. I would have thought that would have.
I would
been-
almost just give you expertise in medicine at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Alright.
Probably so. I mean, this is ostensibly a medical practitioner. I would hope that your doctor has expertise in medicine.
Alright, just to quick pace this real quick. Quick patching at 13th level, you basically can use your quick patch ability as a bonus action, whatever that is. At 15th level, you can use a medicine check to just remove the poison condition from anything. And you can also attempt to slow or cure a disease on a creature at 15th level. It takes an hour to do it, and it's up to the DM's discretion whether it works or not. At 17th level, you get Silver Tongue, which means you can call them patients. After making a positive charisma check against an intelligent creature, it regards you as a friendly ally. This, however, does not affect creatures that can understand you, creatures with 5 or less intelligence, or hostile creatures of any form. And then...
Bleeding.
What?
So I love the title.
You were
of
bleeding because you floss.
that.
Healing
No,
and
because
fixing...
you didn't floss.
Oh, you didn't floss. Healing and fixing isn't the extent of your capabilities. Anyone who thinks so shall be punished by your bloodied hands. Once per long rest, when you use your force extraction ability, you may forcibly destroy the jaw of the creature you are targeting. If it can, the target must make a strength check against a DC equal to your medicine skill plus your strength modifier plus your provisioning bonus. On a success, it resists your force, but you may still use your force extraction ability. On a failure, you manage to tear off the creature's lower jaw completely.
Oh, geez.
The creature takes 8d10 damage and can no longer speak or make intelligible noises. Additionally, it takes 2d6 bleeding damage at the start of each of its turn. Creatures affected differently from the force extraction ability may be immune or affected differently by the ability due to the DM's discretion. Okay, we need to talk
Normally,
about
I would
that.
say that's too much, but I just looked, and that's the level 20 ability. In which case, I feel like that's actually kind of underpowered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. Hey, Griff.
Hey, Griff. Hello. We're going through the dentist on D&D Wiki, and whoo, is it a banger?
So before we go any further,
Okay.
what are our thoughts? What do we like? What do we not like?
I like how funny it is.
It's
I like
a
it.
hilarious build.
Yes,
Yes.
It is a
I love how much
funny.
detail has gone into it.
funny
but-
build, but I think it's all over the map.
Yeah,
though.
I feel like
I
this
think-
is one of those ones where I would feel better on a modern game and not more, say, a fantasy.
Yeah, it
Absolutely,
might
yeah.
thematically fit in a western.
Yes.
I don't know that it would fit in the Sword Coast.
Yeah.
and anything like that.
No.
I think it's
Yes.
a much more modern take.
Yeah.
But I do think it's all over the map. I think some of the abilities are way out there overpowered,
Yes.
and I think some of them are a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
Actually.
I don't
No, and this was without looking at the archetypes.
Right.
I don't know what this class's job is without looking at archetypes so far.
I feel like it's trying to be the healer, but it given it weird abilities on how to
But
deal
not even
damage.
that. No, because it's not even just a straight healer.
Right, they've
Yeah.
I think they've tried to make a healer, but then once they got done with the healer, they're like, "Uh-oh, this has no abilities. What if they probably like took the best bits of the healer and started jamming it in like this weird dentist thing."
Just the base class doesn't even, like, besides the ability to make that medicine check and add your levels as hit points, you don't even have a way to heal.
Yeah.
Well, you
there's
have
not any
you give
healer.
yourself better medicine checks, but no, I completely understand you. Is that better with the archetypes?
Oh, having not read them, I don't even know, but it does seem kind of all over the map. I think...
Yeah, I don't think there's a clear focus for what the class does.
Yeah, like, you've got some combat-oriented stuff, like forced extraction and dental tools.
And then also, wasn't it like a D8 was their hit points?
Yeah.
That's kind of a bit low for someone who has to be up close.
Yeah.
Because
and
this is a character that's going to be within 5 feet of an enemy trying to take its teeth out. That's basically its main attack, is just taking teeth.
And it mentions this quick patching ability as
I
one of the
have
things.
I have no idea where
Starting
that
at
is.
13th level, you can use your quick patch ability as a bonus action, but I'm not actually seeing that ever.
Quicker patching was it 13?
Quick patch increases at 5.
Increases at 5. That I don't.
But where's
oh, no,
the actual
level
patch?
4. Level 4.
But there's not actually a.
Yeah.
There's not a
An
thing
explanation
saying
of
what
what
a
it
quick
does.
patch is.
So yeah, we don't even have.
It's I guess it's not complete yet.
Yeah, we don't even have that. So we jump from the ability score. So you've got the ability score increase, but you don't have the quick patch listed. So it's not even a completely finished description. It doesn't look like.
Oh, sorry, I looked
Unless
ahead
it's
of
in one of
something.
the archetypes, in which case it shouldn't be listed.
Right.
Right. Well, should we take a look at the archetypes then and see
Sure.
what?
Sure.
See what?
Why
All
not?
right.
So the
How,
surgeon.
how much worse could this get?
You've
right?
you've devoted your life to the study of anatomy and surgical practices, being able to quickly and painlessly perform both oral and bodily surgeries to ensure the survival or the end of your patients.
Stop right there. The dentist does not belong anywhere but in my mouth. I'm gonna stop you right there and point that out.
Eyes on me. Any practitioner of the medical arts needs to have a calming and trustworthy face, and knows that medicine can sometimes warrant fear or panic. When you choose this approach at 3rd level, apparently that's what the archetypes are called, the approach, you gain proficiency with all positive charisma checks. And anytime you make a medicine check, you can add your charisma bonus.
Oh,
So
no.
that is the second time we have seen positive charisma checks used in an ability.
So
What is that?
I'm guessing it's probably performance and persuasion, because intimidation and deception I would count as bad,
Negative.
and then negative, and these
Yeah.
ones are good.
But-
I don't know if that was what they wanted.
Right.
If that's what-
Because there's, you could make the case, depending on the point of view, that the opposite could be true. So, I mean, without clarification.
Yeah, without clarification,
on
what that is.
what that is, you're left with.
You're left with the DM's
with what?
discretion.
Yeah. There's. And that's like the second or third time that's come up
Mhm.
in the description, and yeah.
All right,
Well,
practical.
Yeah.
What?
I was gonna say, to me, like, the dentist would be better as a subclass under maybe doctor, rather than its own class.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So
So-
make it instead of the dentist being your
Make it a
Overall
subclass
class,
of
make it
like
a
doctor.
subclass.
Yeah.
Doctor.
right, which is
So-
not what was done here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although it certainly reads like that's what was done.
It looks like it's been reversed.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
instead of doctor with a subclass of dentist, it's dentist with a subclass of doctor.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Practical surgeries. Your surgical knowledge has expanded from just the oral region, allowing you to treat injured patients in any ways. Starting at 6th level, you may spend a short rest performing a surgery on a single injured creature. You must make a medicine roll against a DC determined by the injuries of the creature. The DC is set by the DM's discretion. On success,
That's come up.
during a short rest, you heal the creature by the amount equal to half your total hit die, rounded up, plus your medicine skill, example 5th level fighter, plus your example number 3d10 plus 10 hit points. The creature may use their own hit dice to heal during these resets if allowed by the DM. Shall I just
That's
continue?
actually a really interesting. You can continue. I'm gonna have to remember that for later. That's
Salient.
interesting.
Well, we'll look at this subclass after I get done reading. At 11th level, you've developed a type of liquidized bandage that hardens on contact, able to heal and quickly and temporarily seal wounds that there's no time for surgery. As an action, you may use your sealant on an injured creature within 5 feet of you. This halts the effect of bleeding and closes up the wound, healing the creature by an amount equal to your medicine skill plus your proficiency bonus. The sealant, however, cannot heal a target with no external injuries, or that is not affected by external injuries such as oozes and undead. Potions covered by the sealant have resistance against slashing and piercing damage when targeted and cannot be severed. The sealant crumbles and peels away after 1 hour. And throw the treatment in reverse. You know how to fix and mend. All you have to do is reverse that process, and you learn how to fracture and maim. Starting 18th level, if you have a creature grappled, incapacitated, restrained, paralyzed, or unconscious, you may spend an action to begin ripping and opening portions of their body. If it can, the creature can make a strength check to resist your attempts. The DC is 8 plus your medicine skill, and on a successful save, the creature manages to writhe out of the way of your blades and tools. On a fail save, you deal 8d6 slashing damage to the creature as you tear its flesh and tissue. This damage cannot be increased by any means of features or weapons, and cannot be made critical even if the creature is paralyzed or unconscious. So, what do we think of the surgeon subclass?
Interesting.
Okay. So the one thing I thought maybe could be useful if you were trying to fix this class. I like the idea of practical surgeries. You can take time, almost on a rest, to help another person heal as a doctor. I think that's a cool ability. I kind of like the idea that it's based on their hit dice and your medicine skill, so you are helping their natural healing abilities. That's cool.
But
I'm not sure that the way they phrased it here is the best way to handle that. I like the concept.
Yeah.
There's way too many times in this where they leave it up to the DM to decide what the difficulty would be or when something is or isn't allowed.
Yes. I've gotten much better at reading my spells these last few years, guys. Welcome to the stream. This is not our regular stream. But we'll have that tomorrow night, which is a non-regular night for our regular stream.
yeah.
So also in the D&D Wiki, there's a actual doctor class, and it has the quick patch explanation, and it also has surgeon and a couple others.
Okay, so basically they've taken the doctor,
Yeah.
and then they're like, what if we did two other classes
dentist.
that are like the dentist and the surgeon, and they've made a trifecta that I don't know if the doctor is good, but when it comes to the dentist, I think they fell a little bit short.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things in here. Like the sealant ability talks about, if anybody targets the portion that's sealed, they have resistance against slashing and piercing. But rules as written, there's no calling your shot in 5e, so you don't target specific body parts.
I was gonna call that out. Okay, so that's.
I mean, I did it one time just for.
I don't know if I want to continue down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, I think we can be done with this one.
Yeah.
So I would not recommend playing a dentist.
I wouldn't recommend.
I would flat out ban the dentist from my games.
quite honestly.
Yeah, because
I almost feel like this was made for a specific person's character.
It seems like it.
You know, like it's very. Because I don't think I would have my dentist rely so much on strength and charisma as this one does.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
okay. Well, I think that was a good first one to take a look at.
Yes,
I've got
Yes.
I got a couple more, but we'll do those
we'll hold
at
those
another
off
time. So
for maybe the next episode or two.
Yeah.
And
good night.
maybe by then we'll
Wow.
yeah, that was
Okay, so see,
Interesting.
something like the dentist is why I think it could be cool to build out a profession system for D&D,
Yes.
because like, okay, a doctor or a dentist or a merchant would be a really interesting character to play, but in the context of D&D, there's no good way to build a class around that
I mean,
and have enough stuff to like
I
populate.
mean, the
it.
closest thing to like a merchant is a guild. You can be a guild merchant,
as
which is
a
one of the
background.
yeah, as it's one the variant for a guild member.
Right.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
because like I feel like it'd be cool to have a doctor, but I don't think I could come up with enough abilities to give you to fill out a full 20 level bracket with 2 or 3 archetypes. Like,
well, we could make a doctor background where it's like you gain proficiency in medicine and one other thing that I can't think of. I don't know.
Medicine and nature,
Like
maybe
nature.
I could see.
Nature,
or
because you've got to make like stuff like that, and then
yeah.
for the doctor's like ability, background ability, it could be like people trust you more as a doctor, or something like that.
but that still doesn't provide you as a doctor with any mechanical way of using your
Right.
medicine skill to like.
You still have to fit that into.
People. Which is why I almost like I don't want it to be a background, but it's not quite enough to be anything other than a background. So it could be interesting to have a whole system of professions where
And
it's got a couple mechanical things and you sort of have to work on it on the side as well, and it sort of supplements everything else you have.
And that might be an interesting idea to explore. That's a very, very cool
We could
idea.
break it up in 4 parts. So like from like with the tiers, it was like level 1 through level 4. You've got these abilities you can do, and then once you've gained a little bit of reputation, 5 and 9 are a little bit more extras, and then like you're a really good doctor between 11 or 10 and 14, and then you're like the best doctor at like 15 and 20.
Yeah, I link it to tiers of play.
I
That's
think,
kind of
I think
that's
it'd be
kind of
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I can think of how you could do a progressive profession.
I would either do that or I'd say that you take levels in your profession separately and like you have to use it, like you have to complete X amount of tasks that would
Yeah, but I
fall
feel-
under your profession.
I feel
to
that
level
would be
it up.
that would be hard to do if you're doing levels. I think if like the tiered system that I said would be easier, because all you have to do is remember that you're between this level and this is all you can do. If we start getting into the levels, that's going to be more thing that the DM's discretion is going to have to do.
True.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah,
And
that's
the
a
DM's
very-
got enough on his plate than trying to remember all of his players' professions.
This is true.
Yeah. So something to think about.
Yeah,
and
something for
work
maybe
on,
another time.
Shall we
down the road?
quickly finish the gun rules before we go on to the Gunslinger then?
Yes.
So,
Does anybody have a copy of that?
I have it on my phone. I will
Fantastic.
post it in chat.
Fantastic, if you would. So we went through. We worked on some gun rules. I think for the most part, with a couple of exceptions, we're fairly happy with the way they turned
I
out.
think there's 1 or 2 things we were going to change.
One or
but-
two things we were going to change, and
Okay,
we'll
I've
go
posted
through those.
the link to the gun rules in chat.
Okay.
So if you guys want to follow along, go ahead.
URL signature expired.
Oh no!
You might have to set up like a more permanent way of
Let me
sharing it.
see here what I can pull up. I'm out of camera a lot. I'm sorry.
Oh, hold
guys.
on. Let me see if I can do this. If I save it to my phone. No, that won't work because I can't put it in.
Did you share it through the drive, Keith? Through Google
If I
Drive?
copy it to, if I copy it
Because
to
if you throw it on
iBooks-
Google Drive, you can just set it where anyone with a link can view it, and just put it on the front page of your drive, so to speak.
I'm gonna have to.
But that might be something we do later.
Yeah, we'll do that. I guess we can do that later. So,
But you can pull it up on here, right?
No, that's the hard part. I
Oh.
don't think I can.
well, I have it open, so I can
Yeah,
share
if
with
you'll just
Lance.
sort of read
Or I'll let
through it.
Lance look at it.
I
I've
thought
read
you already
most
had
of
it saved as a text and all that stuff.
I did.
So
but
I think-
on the other computer.
Oh.
I think we're good on most of the roles. I think we were gonna change the action economy of drawing, and
And a few other.
a few
minor
other
changes.
like mechanics, like the damage for.
So-
weapons.
What we have down right now, you've got 3 different kinds of weapons. You've got, generally speaking, pistols, rifles, and shotguns. Pistols are a D6 of damage. They hold 6 rounds. 60 feet is their normal range. 120 is their maximum. You've got rifles, which have a range of 120 normal, 750 max. They deal 2d6 damage. They can hold 5 rounds and require 2 hands. And then you've got the shotgun with a 15 and 30 foot range.
Using shot.
Right, using shot. It's a 30-foot cone with the buckshot, and when they're within your normal range, you do not add your ability modifier to hit, but you do add it to your damage. When they're within the extended range, so between 15 and 30, you add your ability to hit, but not to damage. So you deal more damage close in, but it's harder to hit. Less damage further out, it's easier to hit.
And you are still at disadvantage in that extended range.
Right. And they deal 2d4 piercing damage, 2 rounds in a shotgun, and they're two-handed.
Is 2d4 low for what we're trying to do, or?
I think it's good. It's less damage than
It balances out by the fact that you can do it to multiple
Yeah.
targets.
True.
Yes.
Okay, I do agree to that.
You could, instead of using shot, you could use a slug in your shotgun, in which case it has a range of 80 feet and 120 feet, deals 1d10 piercing damage, and is two-handed.
Then we were gonna change the pistol to
We're gonna
1d8.
So up to a d8.
We're going to change the
And-
pistol up to a D8 and leave everything else
Okay.
as it was.
I think that's good.
Okay, so the next thing on the list is the elephant in the room. The drawing mechanics.
Drawing mechanics.
Alright.
What we decided last time was drawing a pistol would take 1 attack, not an attack action. Just if you have, when you take the attack action, some people get multiple attacks. It takes up 1 of those. Drawing a long gun, like a rifle or a shotgun, would require a full action.
Attack action.
Yes.
And I think in our discussions we've decided that might not have been the right road to go down.
Right.
Right. Because I think when we were starting, we wanted to make a gun system.
Right.
But then remember we were saying we wanted it to be coinciding with D&D, so any D&D class can use it.
Right.
But there was discussions among some chats that
That's why we didn't want to overpower the damage, I think, to
Right.
make guns sort of the default choice if you were given
Right.
that option. And I think we're still there, but I think, like I say, I think the drawing
So
economy needs to be tweaked.
I can
I
think
think-
of some other ways, because in my mind at least, the whole point of the drawing mechanics was so that drawing a gun was more involved than simply drawing essentially a sword
Right.
or something else. Do we still want to try and keep it that way, or do we want to just sort of decide that that's not applicable?
can I make a suggestion?
Certainly.
Since like if we're talking like quick draw where you can shoot really fast, I feel like that doesn't require an action or bonus action or anything like that. Just to like a pistol would have the same effect as you drawing a dagger. It's a bit harder, but it's somewhat the same mechanic.
Yeah, I mean that basically rolls into what we were talking about earlier with the way the PHB plays it out is drawing a weapon is just basically a free interaction
But
that can coincide with
I
other
will say that it is with a great sword. It's shing pulling it out. It's about that fast, roughly.
roughly.
I have never drawn a greatsword off my back, so honestly, I have no
Yeah,
frame of
Right,
reference.
but in general,
Maybe you
it's
should get
like that to draw a sword. It's not that far. I think it is slower to draw a rifle. If you've got like a strap on your back, it is difficult to take the strap off and get it ready. Could we say
If you've got a strap, though, you wouldn't take the strap off, you just sling it out.
it's or sling it
Yeah.
out? Sorry,
Yeah.
whatever. Could we say that it doesn't require any action to pull a pistol, but in combat it requires a bonus action to unsling a rifle.
So I'm comfortable even just saying drawing any gun is an interaction, as you would normally expect.
Okay.
The only thing that's going to change in my mind is why on earth would anyone ever carry a melee weapon at all? Like, if the choice is between carrying a knife or carrying extra guns so that I don't have to reload as often, so, you know, if I have 3 pistols on me in a fight, I can just switch between them, and that's, 18 shots right there?
I think if we do
It
that,
depends
it
on the
balances out because in what I'm going to do, you're going to be fighting mostly people with guns. Maybe the occasional person who will throw a knife at you and bows and arrows and that kind of stuff. But most of that's going to be ranged. If you get up close, you're going to be punching or stabbing and that kind of stuff. Most of the time, you'll be using guns. For example, if you guys are going down a mountain road and you guys get ambushed and people are shooting down at you, you're not going to be I'm going to draw my sword to spend an entire round trying to get somewhere and then get shot at. If you're getting shot at people who have range of 120 feet, they're just going to shoot you. They're not going to be let's wait until they're in
And
melee.
you know, that makes sense in a Western,
Right.
where guns are plentiful.
Mhm.
Yes.
In a more of a mixed setting,
Right.
having those characters that do want to go with
Melee,
the
yeah.
more traditional melee weapons, they're going to be at a
Right.
disadvantage.
For example, for Nate, he's playing Gunslinger. He wanted to have a dual-wielded katana blade that I
No,
was
it's a staff that can come apart and have a blade inside, kind of
Yeah.
like the.
It's
cane
essentially
sword.
like a cane sword, but
Exactly.
longer.
Exactly.
It's like a king sword but dual-wielded.
But my primary weapon is going to be cards with magic.
Yeah.
Which is ranged.
It's
as
still a
well.
ranged weapon.
Still
So-
a range.
I think that's totally fine. I only see a couple problems.
So hang on, what's totally fine?
Just saying, you know what? Most people are going to be using guns anyway. It should just be an interaction. There really was never a good reason to use a melee weapon.
Right.
Some classes, specifically the one I'm thinking of is the Barbarian,
Yeah.
just became absolutely useless except for
Speaking-
damage reduction.
Speaking as someone who played a barbarian gunslinger,
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And a lot of class features, I'm thinking of the Battle Master Fighter, a lot of its abilities say, with a melee weapon attack you can do this.
Right.
Unless we're going to rewrite all of those and just say everything works with a ranged weapon, all of those classes kind of become obsolete. Which maybe we're cool with that, but
I
it
mean,
does somewhat limit your pool
I'm
of
kind
options.
of cool with it because we're just doing this specifically for a Western.
Yeah, specifically for a Western, I think that works.
But I don't know
But
if what
are-
we're trying to do should be implemented into trying to fit it with fantasy and trying to work with all the classes.
was-
I want to try, but
That was kind of where I thought we were headed, but I'm good either way.
right.
I don't know. I personally am kind of torn. When I think of Westerns, guns are definitely,
Right.
that is the primary thing that is used.
Mm-hmm.
But-
Absolutely.
Yes.
Why would anyone be using, for instance, a short bow, in a Western? Why wouldn't they have guns? There's just a lot of things that it brings up, and I feel like it will limit player
choice.
options.
Yeah.
So unless we plan on somehow replacing those things, we just have to accept that we are limiting a lot of ways of playing. I'm also thinking for anyone who's going to pay attention to their stats, there's no reason to put anything in strength anymore.
Right.
I mean, you've got athletics, and when that comes up, it might be useful, but that just means I don't want to put my strength at a dump stat. There's no reason to put anything in strength. I don't know if that'll change the way the game plays at all.
Right.
I just know that will be a thought that goes into making
that's
your
the
character.
issue we're having right now because
Dexterity
it's like,
becomes the key stat.
Yes.
So a lot of dexterity, a lot of acrobatics checks, where you would normally have the other.
I think
You'd have
Seth is
athletics.
playing a barbarian, right?
no, I thought he was playing a fighter.
No, the archetype he wants to try is a subtype of barbarian.
Yeah.
Which, once again, that's why I was thinking, like, it'd be nice if there was still a good reason to have melee weapons.
Right.
We've definitely got the rules down for shooting a gun in close quarters is a bad idea. But if drawing a gun is as fast as anything else, I don't see why I wouldn't draw a gun, take a step back, because nobody else with a gun can take their attack of opportunity, and shoot them.
Sorry, I just read the chat.
Yeah.
I am not wearing your shirt. First of all, we went to the same convention. I had mine, and you had yours, so I am not wearing your shirt.
He's totally wearing your shirt.
I am
Don't
not wearing.
believe him.
I would not be able to fit in his shirt. He is a tall, lanky man.
Hate to break it to you, but so are you.
I am a tall, chubby man.
Everything's relative.
Shut up.
Oh, sorry, Keith. I think I stole it. I was gonna
Yeah,
pick some
so
up,
no, but
I
that's my
forgot.
brother. Please tease him as much as you want.
They were hidden quite well, though.
What are you looking for?
My chips.
You can have some of mine. That's fine.
I was going to pick some up, but I got
But
No,
you
that's-
didn't.
That's okay.
I was going to save some for you, Keith, but then I ate them all.
Yeah.
That's okay. I got them while you guys were out of town.
And you didn't hide them well. Oh, I have.
No,
I
I
have
hid
hiding
them perfectly
places
well.
in
I
my
just
house.
didn't finish them before they got
They
back.
were hidden well, just not well enough.
So
I
what
forget that he's got a nose for junk food.
What I'm wondering, if we still want to try and implement a drawing mechanic, maybe instead of penalizing drawing guns, we somehow give a slight advantage to anyone who goes for a melee weapon.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Well,
But I don't know how I would mechanically represent
Yeah.
that.
should we just have the gun rules, but take like fanning and aiming and only put that in the gunslinger?
No.
No.
I definitely think those should be things available to
Anyone
everyone.
who
Okay.
For
uses
this
a gun.
environment, yes.
Okay.
Anyone should have access to those abilities.
So the only thing I could think of, and this is gonna be really weird, because D&D doesn't really do things this way, but somehow allow for any weapon you're like, if you pull a melee weapon, it somehow allows you to move up in initiative order. So, like, if you draw a gun, you're still going to be where you usually were, but if you go for, if you want to take the risk of, maybe I can close the distance with them fast, that somehow gives you an edge so you can react faster to things.
That's a thought.
And that way, there's still a reason to go for melee weapons, there's still a reason to play with melee weapons in a game. It's just not penalizing gun play, but I don't know exactly how I would implement that.
Well, I mean, I have a melee weapon. The only reason why I have it is for my character who can do attacks without setting off, making sound. So it would definitely be, case by case scenario. But for if you're in a gunfight, and the whole town's involved, yeah, you're not gonna go for it.
Yeah, I was thinking more like fights in close quarters, like
Yeah.
a bar brawl.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I figured that we would have that same thing, but
Because if I'm in a bar
and that's
brawl
why
and
isn't
we're
that why
killing
we
people,
implement? Isn't that why we implemented the you can't pull a gun on someone in 5 feet? That's where that's where I feel like.
that's part
But
of it.
if there's room on the map and guns don't cost me anything other, like they're the same as drawing any other weapon, I could potentially just pull my gun, step back 5 feet, and shoot you. Mechanically. I would just use 5 feet of movement, pull my gun, and shoot you.
You would have to disengage.
Yeah, but if you just have your fists out right now, or you have a gun out, what are you going to do? Punch me with your fist for 3 points of damage? Maybe? Or you can't shoot me with your gun as an attack of opportunity, so...
Well, how is it balanced out in actual Dungeons and Dragons with melee versus ranged?
Ranged weapons deal, for the most part, less damage than melee weapons. The ranged weapon that deals the most damage is a heavy crossbow,
Which is 1d10.
and is one shot, unless you have a feat.
Unless you have the feat.
And your maximum amount of damage with a melee weapon is going to be a greatsword or a battle axe, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
2d6 or a d12.
In formal attire, which says
is our friend.
could give some advantage when melee attacking people using long guns. Like, we could give bonuses to people who are attacking you with melee weapons if you're using a gun. Because, for example, if you're fighting someone with if it's sword v sword, and you're fighting someone, if you miss, that's like saying they like block it and like that kind of stuff. If you're like gun sword, you should have advantage on the person with the gun because they're not going to be like blocking with the gun.
So a thought. I have played in some games before that had a sort of a range increment that they described as like close or engaged, which essentially meant you were like within 5 feet of like, so you know in D&D how essentially like melee range is you're within one square?
Mm-hmm.
It would essentially be, in grid terms, you are in their square. You are so tangled up with them that anybody trying to shoot at you has it, it's just as likely they're going to hit somebody else, and anyone trying to shoot you who you're engaged with
should we increase
is in your reach.
The problem there really becomes how do you get there? Because if the guns have range on you, how are you going to close those gaps?
Well, and I think...
Well, what if we change the range to be like, you can't fire at someone within 10 feet without extreme disadvantage or something? Because it's like, you can't fire accuracy with that range.
I don't even know if I'd say that. Here's what I'd say. Here's how I would implement this idea.
Okay.
It takes 5 feet of movement to move from your square to be essentially in their square with them. If you are able to get that close, and you have a melee weapon, you should have advantage fighting and attacking anyone with a gun, just because they're trying to aim their gun at you, and you're essentially within an arm's, you're inside their reach, right? So you're able to better defend against it. So all the normal rules we had for guns still apply. Shooting at you, they still have disadvantage. You can still go for the gun and everything, but if you spend the extra movement and manage to get close enough to get within that reach, if you have a melee weapon you're using, you have maybe not advantage to the attack, maybe pick a cover increment and add that to your attack. So like, say we use half cover as our example. If you're with half cover is a +2 to your AC, so if you're engaged with someone and you're fighting them with a melee weapon, and they are not fighting with a melee weapon, you get a +2 to your hit. So you get a slight advantage because you wanted to get that close.
I do agree with that.
I don't think most people would want to do that most of the time, but I think when you're in a situation where it could be useful, it gives you a reason to still have that as a plan.
Also, just because you kind of said it, like, the reach. You've got, like, an extra reach. We want to, because if I'm like this, and Nova's, like, maybe, like, 10 feet from me? It's not that hard where you could, like, use your reaction to quickly grab the gun, like, quickly use your reaction to come just a tiny bit closer and grab the gun. If he's, like, 10 feet, I could see someone doing that. So I would, as another suggestion with our grapple rules, if someone within 5 feet, I think we put her within melee, I think we should increase that to 10 feet. Because...
Yeah, I don't think so.
Alright.
Because that rule is mostly to deter you from shooting in close quarters.
Oh, I still feel like 10 feet's too close quarters, but...
Maybe with a long gun, not with a pistol.
Okay.
I think with a pistol, because you don't necessarily have to extend your hand out all the way. But I like the idea that you could get so close with a melee weapon that it's hard for them to shoot you, and anyone shooting at you is just as likely to hit their friend or the other person as they are to hit you.
Because
I don't
that's
think
going to
that'd
be...
come up a lot, but I like the
Yeah,
idea.
it's an edge case kind of thing.
Plus, it's even harder to do because if you try to move out of range, you're going to get melee. You're going to get an opportunity attack. Trying to get farther away to try and shoot again.
But it would reward anyone who wanted to try and like get close up and use melee weapons.
My character would.
The trick is still going to be firearms still have a longer range, and you're still going to have to try and get inside that range.
Well, but
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
the risk you run in trying to do
Yes.
that. Like if you can close the distance, you have all the advantages if you have your melee weapon. But you do have to get that close.
Right.
And I think that would be the balancing aspect of it is like if you can't get that close, if they shoot you before you're there, yeah, that was what was going to happen. But if you manage to get that close, if I had a gun out and I don't have a good melee weapon with me, all of a sudden I'm in a lot of trouble really fast.
Yeah.
My friends can't shoot at you. If I try and back away from you, you're going to get a swipe at me. If I don't have a good weapon with me, I have to resort to clubbing you with my gun.
Which who knows how that's going to
we're
work.
So we're talking about not the ring of squares.
We're
around
talking
the
about
target
using extra movement to
get
get
in the same
square.
Like right up on them.
Like you are in their face, trying to keep them from being able to do anything. So it's more than just getting close enough to hit them with a sword. It's like face to face, nose to nose, in their face.
What does the PHB say about occupying the same space as another creature?
I'm pretty sure it says you can't.
Yeah.
Well, I believe you. Well,
Pretty
it's
sure you
the
can.
bit. I know the rules are a bit loose because it's like you can go through
I know
like your
I know it's a big deal that gnomes can.
Right.
gnomes and I thought it was halflings, not gnomes. Or no, small creatures.
Small creatures. So I.
All right, hold on. Moving around other creatures, you can move through a non-hostile creature's space. In contrast, when in contrast, you can move through a hostile creature space only if the creature is at least 2 sizes larger or smaller than you.
Right.
Remember that another creature's space is difficult terrain for you. Whether a creature is a friend or an enemy, you can't willingly end your move in its space. If you leave a hostile creature's reach during your move, you provoke your opportunity attack, as explained later in the chapter.
So what if engaging with someone costs you a bonus action?
To be like engage.
So like you can get up that close, which kind of protects you from other ranged attacks. If you're using a melee weapon, it gives you all the advantages pretty much, but it does cost you a bonus action to do it.
Yes.
To offset how maybe how much it would suck to just get that close. I don't know.
Okay, then let's roleplay. Let's
It
roleplay this in the essence of a fight. So
seems like we're getting a little far afield from gun rules now. We're sort of shading over into melee weapon territory. And,
well,
and
I know we
don't know if
need
that's
we
part
need
of-
to do it a tiny bit so it's not too overpowered. For like if someone in the group decides to play a barbarian, they're not hammered when it's like
Right.
guns start going off. I mean,
Well, and once
a barbarian can have a gun, but he does a lot more damage up close.
I'm fine not delving into that territory, but if we do not offer alternatives for how barbarians or other fighting classes can make use of guns that normally they can't, we're limiting what people can do.
Yeah.
So the alternative would be maybe making sort of adding an errata and maybe rewriting a couple features of classes to comply with the ability to use guns.
We can come back to this and start something else. Do we want to start on the Gunslinger, and then come back and think about how we're going to do melee?
I kind of feel like we have to decide on gun rules before we can deal with a gunslinger class.
I'm with Lance on that.
Because if we're going to change any of the gun rules, that might change how we want to use a class that's about guns.
Guns.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I'm still trying to wrap my head around a good way to implement it, and a good way to sort of.
because, like you guys have been saying, we need to do it because if people want to do melee, I can't stop them from doing melee, but I don't want them to be like, I'm stuck in the middle of an open field, and their shooter's like a couple hundred yards away, and I can't get to them.
And I don't think anyone will want to use melee weapons all the time, but I do feel like it will kind of... I don't know, I feel like something will be lost if there's just not ever a good reason for melee weapons in general. Because that eliminates a lot of play styles that I can think of.
Yes.
Like, well, maybe not exactly, but like monks. Like, if there's no reason to ever... If there's no advantage for ever getting up close and personal with people, I cannot imagine playing a monk in this game. Or any Western game using this type of rule set.
Right.
There's just... You would just pull out your guns and shoot them, but your abilities don't usually work with guns.
Yeah.
If anyone's out there watching, and if you have an idea,
Throw it out, because we really don't have any good ideas for this.
we're stuck here.
Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is like pulling a melee weapon gives you a bonus to your initiative score, so that you can take the chance to react. Like you're trading off the use of a gun for being able to react faster than other people. Because then at least you, if you wanted to with a melee weapon, you could at least get within range potentially.
Or not even a bonus to drawing a melee weapon. Maybe there's a penalty involved to drawing a
Your gun.
firearm, and the penalty is based on the damage die.
To initiative?
Yeah. So subtract a D8 from your initiative if you're drawing a pistol. Subtract a D10 if you're drawing a rifle.
Interesting.
And then that becomes your new
And
initiative?
that becomes your new initiative. So roll initiative as per normal. Add the bonuses to
I
your
would say
dexterity.
that only comes into play
If you haven't drawn your weapon yet.
if you haven't drawn and if someone else goes to draw a melee weapon. If everyone in the combat is just going to draw pistols, continue as normal and don't worry about everyone subtracting things because you're all on the same playing field. But if anybody goes, I'm grabbing a melee weapon, now that comes into play.
I like that.
I would be
Okay.
that guy.
The only thing I can think of changing it is, well, no, that's probably the best way. I was going to say, it might suck to feel, because as a player you might feel like you're being penalized for going for your gun instead, but there's too many categories of melee weapons to not have it be on the gun. Yeah, I like that idea. So you don't lose an attack,
You don't
and
lose an
potentially
attack.
you still go before the melee people.
Right. If you've got a really high
Yes.
dexterity, you could still go before anybody with a melee weapon, but it gives folks with the melee weapons a chance to maybe close distance a little bit on a gunfighter.
Now, if we're going to
in a
have
fight.
the long guns be a D10 that you subtract from your initiative, do we want pistols to be one step down from that or two steps?
So you
Because
so a
pistols,
D6?
pistols deal 2 steps of damage, if you will, down from a rifle. Right? So a rifle
But we were going
deals...
to up it to a D8, remember?
But it's still essentially a D12, a D10, a D8.
What was the D12?
Essentially, a rifle technically will, on average, deal more damage than a D12, but functionally, 2d6 puts you in sort of the same category.
It still works. It still works. You still just roll the 2d6.
Okay, so just your damage die is what you subtract?
Just roll your damage. So roll your d20 for your initiative, add whatever bonuses, and then roll your damage die and subtract that.
And we don't add anything to the damage die? It's
Nope.
just the straight
Just
whatever
the straight
you roll?
damage die.
Damage.
Okay.
Straight damage die, whatever you roll.
Do we want to write that down? Type that down real quick before we
Yeah.
forget?
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I probably
Yeah.
won't type it up. I'll probably just write it down here on my notepad.
Okay.
That's fine, just so it's recorded.
Just so that
Just
it's
so
recorded
it's
somewhere.
so to just we have it, because as we've learned from our artificer, we need to write things down
Oh.
in unpermanent marker, washable marker. Okay, I think that works.
Okay.
And this is only if someone decides they're going to draw a melee weapon during initiative.
Is that all that we need to do for
I have
generals?
one last question.
Okay.
Hang on one second
No, of
here.
course.
Let me get these written down here.
I love doing this. It's always fun. This is one of the highlights of my week. Yeah, I think that balances out. I agree with that. If melee weapons start to become affected, the guns should get lowered a bit.
Well,
In the
if you're
initiative
already
order.
in close quarters, that might
Yeah.
actually be a good advantage. If
Mhm.
if everybody's super far out, there's no good reason
Yeah.
to do that. But if you're already up close,
That should be like a brawl.
or if you if you were sneaking up on someone and they noticed you, like if you already had done things to close that gap.
Yeah.
So my two questions.
Okay.
I assume nothing happens to the initiative order if, in the middle of combat, someone decides to switch to a melee weapon.
No.
No.
Nothing
Okay.
changes.
What if people enter combat halfway through a combat?
Well, it depends on if they have their guns out or not.
But do we make everyone re-roll their initiative? Do you
No,
just
I-
lose
I,
out
I would say you just roll your initiative and enter
there in the
Mhm.
there at
Yeah.
that point.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
That's sort of what
like
I-
the initial. Everyone's standing around.
It's the quick draw.
It's the quick
Yeah.
draw.
It's
yeah.
the scene from Tombstone where they all have their guns at the
Yeah.
back behind the corral and they're deciding if they're going to shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I am satisfied with that.
Okay. So
Um,
we're changing pistols to a D8 instead of a
Yes.
D6.
Yes.
So they're essentially around a longsword in terms of damage.
Right.
Are we
Was
good
there
on?
something else that we wanted to discuss?
I-
about that?
We're good on
think-
reloading.
I think everything else was just some minor changes, like stipulating that loading different shots
Right.
into a shotgun is one bonus action, not
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think there was anything else we.
Yeah. I think we were pretty happy with everything else.
Yes. Because we're good with reloading, fires and misjams, and then guns and melee. I think we're good with the guns and melee. Although stipulation we needed, or were we gonna do melee have advantage on people in melee?
Nah.
Okay.
That was only if we were gonna have like the you can like get right up in their face sort of thing.
All right.
Yeah.
I
Which
believe
rules is written, I don't think is allowed.
No, you'd
Right.
have to say that this is like an extra thing we've tacked on.
Now, something that was brought up in some of the chats was the different other types of guns, like Derringers and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Derringers we talked about. They did a D4, although maybe we want to up that to a D6,
Maybe.
given the scheme.
Mhm.
You can use them in melee range just fine because they're so small.
And it only has 2 shots.
It only has 2 shots. You can draw them as an interaction
Yeah.
even before, but they only had an effective range of what did we decide?
10 feet.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like there's not like that's
Yeah.
all you get is 10 feet.
Yeah. Because
2 shots, 10 feet.
if we're making the Derringers a melee pistol, I think that's good.
The only other thing I can think of coming up, would you say someone gets advantage if they're rolling to hide a Derringer on their person? But I don't even think daggers have that.
Yeah. No.
So I'd say,
Uh-uh.
yeah, okay, so no.
Yeah.
Well, a Derringer is like that big,
Depending, but it's
and a
it's-
dagger is like that long. And
Well, a
that
dagger is
wide.
anything under a short sword, so like technically this could be a dagger.
Yeah. No, I
Depending on where I'm stabbing you with that could be effective.
So now, so maximum range is 10 feet.
yes. 10 feet. That's it.
So
5'10".
So it's
5'10".
5'10".
5'10". Shooting at 10 feet, you're at disadvantage.
Okay.
You're just
So
Yeah.
2 shots, no penalty in melee range, 5'10".
Yeah.
And it does a D6.
I'd say a D6.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like that's balanced.
There is one other thing we have to think about
What?
that I just thought of.
Would almost so ammunition. So it would get ammo, and it would get reloading.
Well, do we want it to reload faster?
No,
No.
that's
Okay.
just that's
All right.
The real
That's just
question.
the thing.
The real question is, does it count as a light weapon?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we want sneak attack to work with all guns? Because rules as written, sneak attack works with any ranged weapon.
Yeah.
Are we comfortable with all ranged weapons allowing sneak attack? All guns, so to speak.
Yes, but it's going to make a lot. Oh, we should put a stipulation that you can hear a gun within 300 feet. Or
Part of
something like
that
that.
would depend on
Yeah.
just the situation. So maybe that's a
Yeah.
DM decision, like
Yeah.
if you can, how many people notice it. But
I
Yeah.
grab a pillow and pop, pop.
I am inclined to say that pistols and derringers you can use sneak attack, but shotguns and rifles you can't.
I mean, unless you are completely hidden.
Well,
But
The only other
then-
concern I have is there is no other way, rules as written, without a magical item, to get a sneak attack on a weapon that deals 2d6. Like, the highest you could get would be with a heavy crossbow that you somehow are proficient with, and that would be a d10. So I don't know what would happen if someone starts using sneak attacks with a rifle.
which I would
That's
vote.
like sneak attacking with a greatsword.
I would vote
Yeah.
yes with the rifle because you're doing it at range, and I feel like sneak attacked it like a half a mile, you would get sneak attack. But
I'm only concerned with how much extra damage that would be all at once, and I could see that becoming very broken very fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
I can see that too.
Because in normal D&D, there's no ranged weapons that deal more than a d10. And even that, you're not actually proficient with that as a rogue.
well, then do we
normally.
want to
Yeah.
lower the?
I wouldn't
Right,
lower
no,
the damage.
no,
I would
no.
just say that you cannot sneak attack with rifles unless your DM says otherwise. So,
Okay.
like, unless it's a special edge case where your DM says, I'm going to go ahead and allow it this time. Because you also get your sneak attack if someone's within 5 feet. So if you've got a friend who rushes into melee, now the rogue with the rifle in the back of the room can start using their sneak attack.
Should
on
we
you.
should we say that you can only get sneak attack if you're not
I wouldn't.
if you are
change-
not seen, but if you are known, then you can't get it.
I wouldn't change any of the way sneak attack works. I would just write in an extra rule that says, like, rifles,
Under
no
only-
sneak attack damage.
Only under certain circumstances. Oh, well, hold on, I'll say this. I don't think we should have sneak attack because you can fire a gun, you can hear the noise, and then the bullet comes.
The only time you wouldn't is when you're at super extreme range, well beyond anything that the guns that we've defined can hit.
Yeah.
So
You're talking 2 or 3 miles.
No sneak attack with rifles and shotguns. I could also see someone trying to use the shotgun with the spread and getting their sneak attack damage to everything.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that just seems
so,
too much.
So just
Pistols
so
and derringers.
no long guns.
Right.
Okay.
No long guns can use sneak attack.
Killer Rabbit 13
Yes.
has said, precision shots at range do no real damage unless they are called shots. Range
That's
sneak attack has always been a bit exploitable. Yes.
You're
I
not
yes.
wrong.
I have played a rogue, and I have learned this.
Yes, sir.
I have one-shot the wizard.
Longbow, step and hide. Next turn, longbow, step and hide.
Yep.
Doing Skyrim tactics against dragons.
Yep. So long guns do not get sneak attack damage.
Then I think we're good.
I think, yep.
All right. Cool.
At least till we
You're
start
fine.
playing with this and realize that we've made a terrible, terrible mistake.
Oh, we can always come back to this and change it. There's
We won't know until we
no
play.
doubt about it.
This is sort of the alpha.
Yes, this is the alpha.
This is the alpha design
one.
phase.
This is point 0.8.
Braden's game gets to be the beta test.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
Not for the gun rules.
Yeah, I think we've got it.
I
good
think they're in a good
Once
place.
we make those edits, I think we're in a good place.
So are we good to go on the Gunslinger then?
I think
Sure.
so, and I think we should aim for between 5 and 8 or 5 and 10 levels
Yeah.
right now, so
Right
that we
now.
can at least start with it, and
Right.
we can finish out the
Right.
rest later.
So let's start off with just generalization actions, because that's
I
the
think
one
we should,
thing we're
I
gonna
think
have.
we should take it a step further back than that, because you've got you've got all the stuff at the top of the class.
Well, no, when I referred to this, I mean like actions. Are we going to be like, you get with a pistol? There's 6 shots. So during the entire span of the levels, do we want them to have a total of 6 shots per 20th, or do we want it to be lower?
I would say this is how I would do it.
Okay.
You get the extra attack feature. You get an additional extra attack at 11th level. So at 20th level, you would only ever have 3 attacks. These extra attacks only apply when you're using guns. If you were using anything other than a firearm,
Right.
you only get 1 attack. So even at like 20th level, if you wanted to, you could fan the hammer 3 times.
Yeah, assuming you
had the guns
the
to
guns
switch
and
to.
the bullets to do it. Yes.
So I think that's a good place for them to be. I don't think they should be able to take enough attacks to empty a pistol in 1 turn. Because nobody gets that many attacks. Even fighters, unless they action surge, only get 4 attacks at level 20.
Yeah.
Well, no, they get. I know, like 8 or something.
No.
Well, if a fighter uses action surge, they can get 8 total.
Oh, yeah, but that costs them their action surge. They
Yeah.
can't do that every round.
Right, no, I'm just
They could do that
saying.
1 time. So
Right.
I'd say they're only ever going to get 3 attacks, and it only applies to firearms. So if they pull a melee weapon, they're down to 1.
Okay.
Or, yeah, they're down to
They're
1.
down to 1.
So what do we want to give the gunslinger at first level?
Well, first of all, at first level, you obviously get proficiency with firearms.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're proficient with firearms.
All firearms.
All firearms.
Sorry, I can't read, so this is probably spelled way wrong.
Oh, no worries.
So I had a thought of maybe how to do this.
Okay.
Grit points, which is something that shows up almost every time you have a gunslinger class involved.
Right.
I imagine them working sort of like key points for a monk, except they're based on your constitution modifier.
Okay.
And then at first level, you get a few features that you can use with them, and you get them back because you only have as many as your con modifier. You get them back on a short rest, or you get 1 back, 1 refunded if you get a critical hit with a firearm.
Which is what Matt Mercer's does, correct?
Right. Or something similar to that.
Right.
So I'd say at first level, we give them 3 features that they can use, and that's like their big first level ability.
So, like what?
So we're adding grit.
So are we saying like you can do something as a bonus action?
So so it'd be just like key points. It would be you have to spend a grit point. These will cost your bonus action.
Because like one of the things you can do with grit points in Matt Mercer's is you can spend a grit point to give yourself advantage.
I think that's maybe a little too much, given that
We've done so much to the
Yeah.
guns. Okay. Do we want to do it like the rogue, where you can dodge? I'm trying to think of what would be useful
So-
with bonus action as a gunslinger.
spend a grit point. Bonus action, reload your weapon fully.
The grit point does bonus action reload fully.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I like
it's
that.
like what it would normally take to load 1, but if you spend the grit point, you get to load your gun all the way. So you
As
have
a
a
bonus
fast
action.
reload.
I like that. So a fast reload grit point.
I'm thinking maybe grit point, bonus action, you don't take a penalty to drawing a firearm during initiative. You have to spend 1 of your grit points, which you'll only ever have like 5. And it costs you your bonus action when your turn gets there, but you are able to draw just as fast as anyone with a melee weapon,
Right.
since you are a gunslinger.
Okay, so we've got 1 that is a quick reload.
Yeah.
I don't know if this should be a first level or if this should be like the gunslinger archetype. But we could do a thing where it's like you can add as many grit points as you want to add to your fan the hammer ability for maybe like a gunslinger archetype.
I would
like,
leave that to maybe an archetype.
yeah, that's what I feel like an archetype. I just thought I'd say it so I don't forget it because I was just thinking that like you can spend grit points. You can spend 1 grit point to add another. So for 3, you can add another grit point to do 4, and you can add as many as you want to just add more to your fan the hammer. But that could be like the gunslinger.
Maybe, I don't know, because the problem is, unlike the monk, you will only at maximum con you will only have 5 of these.
Right.
Ever.
Whereas with key points, your max would be 20.
Right.
Right.
So the last ability at first level, I'm thinking you can spend a grip point, and it's a bonus action. You can shoot out to your maximum range without disadvantage. So you get one that helps you reload
like that.
faster, one that lets you draw fast, and one that lets you shoot as far as possible.
I like that.
And these are things that every gunslinger, no matter who they are, what archetype, they get these.
Okay. I like that.
And because it's a limited pool of grit points, you're not going to be you're going to be very
You're
careful
very
about the
limited. In,
situations.
you'll get them back after every fight, give or take. But
But-
in a fight, you can only ever... It's almost like spell slots for warlocks. You'll get them back after the fight, but in the fight, you only have a couple to choose from.
Right.
Yeah. Second level.
So let's go back a minute. I want to
first
go
level.
back to your starting stuff.
Oh yeah, the
Hit,
starting equipment.
hit die, skills,
Right.
saving throws. I'm a fan of a D10 hit die.
Yes.
Seconded.
I think
'Cause-
this class is going to be all about combat, and if you have anything less than a D10, you're going to be at a severe disadvantage.
Yes.
'Cause-
Which, I mean, you're playing a character that has a D8.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's more balanced since you have magic cards.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm open to saying a D8. All that I've seen is that the combat classes, the classes that are expected to be in combat and that all their stuff centers around it,
Yeah.
tend to be D10s or up,
Yes.
so that they can take hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm all for a D10 as well. I'm happy with that.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm just going to remind myself what
Um,
got
all right. So that's hit die.
Saving throws.
Saving throws.
Okay.
Dex and con?
Dex. Well, hold on. Yeah, Dex and Con. Because I
Dex
was
and con.
going to say...
One common, one uncommon. If we're using Constitution for grip points, I feel like that's going to become the second
Yep.
attribute for the class.
With wisdom a close third.
well,
Yeah.
we could have... You can have... Your main thing is Dexterity. And you can choose Con if you're the Gunslinger or Wisdom if you're the Rifle. If you plan
No.
to go Rifle.
I say for
I don't
saving
think
throw,
there's-
you get Dex and con.
So you can Dex and Con? Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
of
no,
any
I
other
meant-
class that lets you.
No, I
Yeah.
just meant
Yeah.
like... for like the quick build. Like
Oh,
quick build
yeah,
thing.
no, yeah, for
You can
sure.
either do like Con if you're going Gunslinger or Wisdom if you're going Rifle.
Gotcha.
For sure.
That's
For
what
sure.
I meant.
Wisdom or Constitution will be the second most important, depending on how you're going to
Depending on how we're gonna word this. Armor.
Light armor.
Light armor.
Yeah.
Light armor.
Light armor.
That's
That's it.
easy.
Don't even have to-
I would say they
It's
are
under proficiency.
only proficient with all firearms and simple weapons. So if they're going to use anything that's not a firearm, they don't have a ton of
I
good
agree.
options.
I agree.
Yeah, they are
Yeah.
definitely.
They're
are, so-
they're good with guns.
That's it.
That's their shtick. That's what they're good
Yep.
with.
I'm good with that.
Tools.
Are we gonna have a gunsmithing kit in the game at all?
I wouldn't say. We could have a gun cleaning kit,
If
but
there's
I don't know how that would mechanically work with the.
Yeah,
Well-
I'm not sure that's that's
Yeah, if
necessary.
we're not
Could
gonna
we
add
just
that,
put-
I wouldn't give them proficiency with any tools.
Yeah.
Can we just say proficient in one type of tool?
No, because
No.
you can get some from your background if
Okay.
that's what you want. I don't think the class, unless there's like a specific gunsmithing kit, I don't think gunslingers would learn how to use them.
So no
Yeah.
tools.
So no tools.
I was gonna say like maybe if they could like make their own bullet in a pinch.
Ooh.
Is that see? And that's what I was wondering. Are we gonna have like a
Yeah.
gunsmithing type of a thing like that, or is that gonna be something that kind of anyone can do? Like, I assume everyone knows how to clean a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
But
think we
does
need a
does
specific
everyone
info.
know how to make a bullet? Not everyone knows how to make bullets.
I would be inclined to say no.
And then you can be like limited to like so many per day and all that stuff. But.
Yeah.
All right, Killer Rabbit 13. A rifleman carved out of beef? Question mark. The
Yes.
combat classes also tend to be able to kill from a country away. I'd go a D8 half wit between a rogue and a fighter.
Halfway between rogue and fighter.
But rogues have a D8
Yeah.
Yeah.
in 5th edition.
Also, rogues are very hard to hit.
Yeah, rogues
And
have
rogues
a
are
ton
very-
of ways to mitigate damage coming at
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
I don't think the gunslinger will.
Uncanny dodge is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Uncanny
Yeah.
dodge and evasion that you get by like what is it, 4th or 5th? Like you
Yeah,
get it
it's
like
like
super
like
early.
5th level is
Dominant.
Uncanny Dodge, Evasion is 7th level.
Yes.
Which means you can't hit the rogue for shit.
Yeah.
As I have discovered.
As you have
playing
discovered,
a rogue in
yeah.
my game.
Yeah.
I know.
So rogues are broken. We've decided this.
So yeah, I would say if we're gonna lower them to a D8, you would have to give them a monk or rogue-esque ability to like minimize the amount of damage they're gonna take.
And maybe that's a grit thing.
Yeah.
But
You can spend a...
I'm inclined to just say that a gunslinger just has enough
If-
hit points to take hits. They don't
yeah.
have a lot lot of ways of like just all of them
persevering,
getting out of.
just
Yeah.
like persevering.
Yeah,
to
they just
bullet.
they have hit points to take hits.
Like
Yeah.
a barbarian, so
Yeah,
Yeah. The barbarian's like a D12, right?
yeah. The barbarian's
so-
a D12. He is a tank.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fighters are a D10. I'm
Rangers
happy.
are a D10.
I like
paladins
thinking
are a
that this
D10.
the gunfighter is a lot more like the fighter in
Yeah.
like
I imagine it's like a fighter, but really narrowly focused on like guns.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
outside of guns, yeah.
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 Anything else? Equipment. Oh wait, skills.
Skills. How many skills does a fighter get?
2 skills.
I think gunslinger should get 2 skills.
All right.
Perception.
Okay, hold on. I think this is perfect. Acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, history, insight, intimidation, perception, and survival. I think that's all that a gunslinger would need.
I actually think that that's a good. I think that's a good spread for a gunslinger.
And then choose 2.
Here, I'll-
Yeah, you get 2 of those.
Here, hand that to him
That's
so he can.
fine. I'll just put down
Fighter skills.
fighter
skills.
list.
Fighter list.
The fighter list and the same number the fighters get.
Okay, equipment.
Fighter list. Choose 2.
Starting equipment, you get a gun.
Pistol? Should we do a pistol, and then you can either have a rifle or a shotgun?
I would say your first thing is you get a pistol.
Okay,
Also, you should get leather armor.
yes.
So a pistol with like
That how many bullets? I'm not sure how to gauge because I don't know how hard bullets are going to be to get.
And I haven't decided yet, but it would probably be difficult depending on how many
I
shots
mean,
you guys take.
Generally speaking, ranged weapons that start out with at least 20.
Yes, but we're talking about guns. So let me put it this way: how many reloads do we want them to have before they have to restock?
At least 4 in a pistol.
So
Which means 24.
24.
And
So-
I would almost say more since a gunslinger is only good with guns.
Should we just say 30 bullets, as that's like 5 rounds?
That's kind of where I was headed.
Okay.
30.
A pistol with 30 bullets, because that's 5 reloads before you need to find some more.
Right.
Right.
Hopefully you will be able to make some or buy some at that point.
Right.
Yes.
So a pistol, leather armor.
Either a rifle or a shotgun.
Actually, I was going to say a rifle,
A
a
shotgun
shotgun,
or another pistol.
pistol.
Yes.
So you get a second gun of your choice. Maybe you throw some extra ammo on with that, much more limited. So like maybe only 12 or 18 bullets
For a
or
rifle.
slugs. So you get a rifle,
Yeah.
a shotgun, or a pistol with 15 more bullets, or if you pick the shotgun, a certain amount of slugs or shot.
Yeah.
Essentially, you get a little bit of extra ammo to go along with whatever extra gun you pick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we want it to be
we
like,
good with 15?
I think 15 is
15.
a good amount.
because that's 3 reloads. And you'll probably kill something before.
I would say if they take a shotgun, they get 5 buckshot. or like maybe 7 buckshot, and the rest are slugs of that 15.
Okay. Now,
Just
I would
'cause I
say
think slugs are going to be pretty useful.
I would also say give them either a dagger, a Bowie knife, or a hand axe.
I would just say a simple weapon.
A simple weapon.
A simple weapon of a simple melee weapon of their choice.
Okay.
Since
That works
that's,
for me.
there's not a ton of great
Yes.
options in that
And
list.
what packs?
Okay, so one simple weapon.
Let me look
Yeah.
at packs real quick and see what.
I don't even know what pack I'd give them. I honestly, I kind of think you might even have to come up with
Come on.
new
custom.
packs for a Western, but
I don't know. I think some.
I
of
would
these packs are-
say an Explorer or a Dungeoneer's pack off the top of my head.
I would go with Explorer's pack, but
Well, we want to give them a choice.
maybe like an Explorer's pack or a Diplomat's pack.
What's in the Diplomat's pack?
A chest, 2 cases of maps and scrolls, a set of fine clothing, a bottle of ink, an ink pen, a lamp, 2 flasks of oil, 5 sheets of paper, a vial of perfume, sealing wax, and soap.
Maybe you're a really wealthy, fancy gunslinger?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
You're like Doc Holliday?
Maybe.
That's kind of what I was
See that.
going
Okay,
along.
alright. I can get behind that.
And that's a bit eat for.
Okay.
All right. And then
So
first
first
level,
level-
we're giving them proficiency with guns.
Well, yeah, that's part of the build. So
Oh,
that
and
can-
so at first level, we're giving them the grip points.
The grip points.
What else at first level? Are we going to give them like a fighting style? Or does that seem too overpowered?
Was it grit points equals wisdom mod?
no,
Duh,
they're
Constitution.
Constitution mod.
Grit feels more like Constitution, not Wisdom.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so if we're going to do a fighting style, I think that there are 3 fighting style. I definitely think we should introduce them. I just don't know at what levels. But the 3 I think we should offer them is the archery fighting style, which is just +2 to your hit.
cartridge, Killer Rabbit. We're doing cartridge. Not. He wanted to know if we were doing cartridge.
Yeah, yeah.
Or black powder. We're doing
Yeah,
cartridge.
preloaded
So-
Preloaded rounds.
So-
Preloaded rounds. So.
So the normal archery, you get +2 to your ranged attacks. The other 2, I think, one of them should be the ability to fan the hammer at -2 instead of -5. Which moves
-5.
fanning the hammer from a 3/4 cover to a half cover.
Okay.
And then I think the one after that should play into some other. So I sort of see 3, like for the archetypes, I'm imagining 3 aspects of a gunslinger: like a marksman or a sharpshooter, the quick draw, up close, lots of shots, and then like a just really tough, almost like Iron Man type. You can just take hits.
Should we give them like defense? Give them +1 to armor, or
That could be cool.
because let me share what the fighting style is. We've got archery +2 to
Ooh.
hit, defense +1 to AC, dueling. When wielding a melee weapon in one hand, no other weapons, you get a +2 to hit. The great weapon fighting, protection, and 2 weapon fighting.
How about the fanning the hammer one, whatever we're going to call that?
Yeah.
Dueling and archery. Dueling, so long as you don't have another melee weapon in your other hand, you get +2 to your damage. Archery is you get +2 to your hit.
I like that.
So you either are good with fanning the hammer, or you have a bonus to your damage, or a bonus to hit.
I like it.
We just have to reword dueling so that it specified a ranged weapon instead of a melee weapon.
One-handed.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
you-
mean like
you
they
have
call
to-
it.
the
They'll
way
call it one-handed.
the way okay, because the way dueling is written,
Yeah.
you have to have one hand not using a weapon. So you can have a shield and you're fine, but you can't have a great sword. So it would essentially boost your pistol damage, boost accuracy to all guns, or you're just better with fanning the hammer
So
would
that's
be your 3 options.
So that's 2 for pistol and 1
for everything.
for everything.
I just don't know what a good thing to give that would target specifically long guns would be.
Well, not well.
Because I was thinking like, oh, like it's just a
Well, no, the
bonus to
it's-
aim, but the way we have aim, I don't know what bonus you'd give it.
Yeah.
On D&D Wiki, there are actually a gunslinger.
I
and
figured
maybe
though. I did
it's-
see a couple of them, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to look at those to
Yeah. To
prejudice
prejudice
ourselves
or
Okay, that's
yank
fair.
ideas from them.
yeah, we just wanted to
We wanted this to be sort of
Unique.
our stream of consciousness
Okay.
and what we want from a gunslinger
Also, I'm kind of
class.
skeptic. I've seen a lot of gunslinger classes, and that's made me very jaded about gunslinger classes.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to do a gunslinger wrong.
Okay.
What if we did one of the fighting styles is you can load 2 shots as a bonus action instead of 1 when you bonus action like to reload. What if you put 2 instead as one of the fighting styles, like the fast-handed or something like that?
Except we've already got the grit. We've already got the grit.
Well, then that means you can put another one in.
feature.
Well, because the grit feature is a bonus action to fully reload. when it
Right.
comes
Oh, to
grit
fully
point.
reload.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it
so
essentially
okay.
takes fully reloading from a full action to a bonus action.
Okay,
So yeah, so that's kind of a
trying to think. We could
kind of makes it
that's with
superfluous
aiming.
almost.
Or maybe we just get rid of the fanning the hammer thing, and we leave that for one of the archetypes as an ability, and
Leave
we
that
just
with
say
the
it's either
guns?
archery or it's dueling with ranged
So
weapons.
marksman or the accurate.
Yeah, so like either you get a +2 to your damage, so long as you're only using one gun, and it's not a long gun, or you get a +2 to your accuracy.
Like the accurate or the deadly, we could call it.
that almost. I don't know. That,
Because we're only gonna have what, 2 archetypes?
3.
What's the third?
Sharpshooter, fast
Gunslinger.
shooter, and then one built around the idea of like con as your secondary. That's just gonna be like a tank. He can
Tank
just
him
take damage.
Okay.
He's not as good with his guns as everybody else, but he can get up from a shot and walk it off.
Sharpshooter, quick draw.
So the. See, how would you say it? The quick the something.
The quick, the accurate, the...
And the ugly.
Yeah.
I mean,
But what's
it works.
the quick, the accurate, and the ugly?
What's the movie? I'm.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, but there was another one too. There's the quick and the something. I thought.
Quick and the dead.
Yeah, the quick and the dead. Maybe that's what I was thinking. Maybe I was trying to conflate the two. It's like
Done
the
it,
quick,
I've
the
done it
something, and the
before, don't worry.
Yeah.
So maybe just at first level, since this is every gunslinger, maybe it's first or second level, whenever it's just those 2 options.
So grit and then the 2 fighting.
Right.
Choice of-
Either a bonus to hit or a bonus to damage
Okay.
is essentially what it amounts
Yeah.
to.
At first level.
Fighting. Are we gonna call them fighting styles?
I would call them fighting
Yeah.
styles because it's essentially the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that usually like third level? You do that?
No, that's the archetype.
For fighters,
Yeah,
it's first
fighters,
level.
it's first level.
Okay.
Rangers, it's second level.
Yeah, second level.
Paladins, it's somewhere between 1 and 3. I don't remember where.
Yeah, I can't. I think it's first or second.
You get them
Okay.
pretty early on because they're just
Yeah.
sort of like a static buff to one
Yeah.
of your
Mhm.
abilities to fight.
So I'm okay with that.
It's just
and-
give the fighting classes a buff against like magic.
Right. Linear fighters.
Quadratic wizards.
Wizards.
Yeah.
So-
All right.
Second level. I have no idea.
Because third level is gonna be the archetype.
Third level is going to be archetypes.
What is
Fourth level is
second
gonna be
level?
abilities. I have no idea what I'd give them at second level.
We could do expertise,
Mm,
but we
no.
already figured no.
It's too early for more grit point features.
Let me look at some other things that second
Yeah.
level people. Let's
On
look
the
at.
fighter, you get an action surge.
Yeah.
Increase your movement speed. For Monk is movement speed, wild shape.
Okay, here's something that might break the game, so I'm not sure this is a great idea, but what if you can make a ranged attack as an attack of opportunity?
Interesting.
Right? That's why I was like, it might break the game.
How
But
would you trigger it though?
same way a normal attack of opportunity is triggered. Just instead of only being able to make a melee attack, you can make it with a gun. Like I said, I don't know if that may be way too powerful for a second level ability, if an ability ever.
Yeah.
But that might be something cool for them.
Advantage on dexterity saving throws at second level? Just to be able to get out of the way.
No.
Sorry, I'm just naming
Yeah,
off.
no, you're just looking
I'm
at
just
what else
looking
other
at like
people-
what
Man,
other
second level's
things.
a hard thing to come up with.
Because you're trying to cram something in at second level before you decide what to do at third level.
What about...
break the game. Let's break it with style.
Yeah.
Sorry. Scritch has walked in from her day at work.
We could
and
do
she's now-
something with like natural explorer where they're good at seeing things.
Yeah, that doesn't fit the...
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just
Is there any class that just has nothing at second level?
Not that early. No, there are levels that you.
No,
don't
actually,
get
a
in.
lot of
Is
things-
there anyone that just has their fighting styles at second level?
that is the ranger.
Maybe you just get a fighting style at second level.
Well, then what are we gonna do at first level?
Just
to-
the grit
Just the
features.
grit
Grit?
features.
Which I think are actually pretty handy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So actually.
Because at second level, you're either getting, with some things, your archetype, or you're getting a fighting style. Monk gets plus 10 to his speed. Barbarian gets plus advantage on dexterity checks. Expertise for rogue. Jack of all trades for the barbarian. Wild shape for the druid.
Yeah, so I think a fighting
action
style's
surge
good.
for the
So
fighter.
the fighting style at second level with just the grit first.
I don't know. I think we should add something at first, but we can always come back to that.
Yeah.
If we
I'm
think there's something
inclined
else.
to say let's figure out something else at first.
Maybe that's where your ability to craft bullets comes in. I kind of like the idea that a gunslinger can make ammo if he has to.
If he can find the materials, of course.
Well, the monk gets his key points at second level.
Yeah,
So
then
should
what do
we-
you give him at first?
So should we
Because
get
the monk gets
yeah.
the martial arts at
Well,
first.
yeah,
Right.
I'm saying maybe move the grit to second level and something else at first level.
we could do that, where it's you get your fighting style at first level and then you get grit at second.
Yeah, but you want first level to have something good, because if you're starting a first level character, you don't want them to just have nothing.
Well,
Yeah, there's
giving-
already enough of that.
giving
in
them
the
what
first two
like
levels.
if we give them guns and they can either choose to hit better or do more damage. I feel like that's something good. And then at second level, you give them like the ability to fan the hammer or aim in your fire. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like your first level ability should be something that's very
Ooh.
telling for the class, but
Ooh.
Ooh, what, Keith?
A dangerous reputation. You gain advantage on intimidation checks.
Okay, I'll agree
all
to
right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get behind that.
that. I like that. I just that's so Western.
Okay, so I only have one other thing to bring up with that.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Do we want to make part of that ability that we tie for intimidation checks for a gunslinger, we tie it to something other than charisma?
Ooh.
And if we were going to tie it to anything, honestly, I'd say you'd tie it to constitution for them.
Just being a tough SOB.
Yeah, like you just have this reputation of being so relentless that people they take you seriously.
I love it.
I like that.
I love how
'Cause
we're taking.
Otherwise,
Paul.
you're gonna otherwise that's kind of useless if you don't put anything in charisma, and you already have 3 abilities that are going to be
Because
important.
you don't
Adding a
necessarily
4th is
have to
gonna
be
suck.
a charismatic person to be intimidating.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like the main character from Fallout New Vegas. He gets shot in the head and tracks down the person who did it all the way to Vegas. Constitution.
Hasta
You're
la
just
vista,
terrifying.
baby.
So on intimidation checks, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the ability to craft ammunition.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Zion Energy. Only 4 players? Did the rest of the crew step on a Lego with no socks on and in this confusion step their pinky toe? No, we are actually doing Cover Your Assets. We're not playing our Dungeons and Dragons, but we are doing creating Dungeons and Dragons material. Just because we want to and just because it's fun.
So we're sort of showcasing how we go about creating new homebrewed content.
Yes.
Right now we're working on a Gunslinger class for a Western game Brayden is going to be running.
Yes.
All right. Let's hang on to the idea of crafting ammunition.
I think that's
Might
useful,
come out.
but that can come in later.
That
I
can
like
come
the
in later.
dangerous reputation
Yeah.
way more.
And that
It's
can
like
be that can be what the ugly focuses more on,
It's
the
the-
intimidation presence.
Yeah, so it's the gunslinger striding into town. No one has ever seen this person before, but they know who he or she is
Yeah.
just by reputation. And taking a look at him, that is one mean hombre.
Yeah.
This
I love
is
it.
not someone you want to
This
piss
is
off.
not someone. This is all.
He's the reason
this
why
is the
the
women
ladies
and
close
children.
their
Close
shutters.
the shutters and scurry into the stores.
Oh, man.
That's what this is about.
I love that.
I really like that too, because that can work equally as well for like if you want to play a gunslinger who's like the lawman or the sheriff, or if you're playing an outlaw. Either way, it's useful to have the
Yeah.
ability to intimidate everyone. That's good job, Keith. That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, Keith, that's really great.
Sometimes knowing what you're going to call an ability
Right?
forms
Right?
it.
What did you call it
yes.
again?
A dangerous
Dangerous
reputation.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a good
That
one.
is great.
All right. So then, third level is archetypes.
So
Which
third
is-
level is archetypes, which
What do we call the?
What did we call him? We called him the.
I would call him the marksman or the sharpshooter.
I would say quick draw.
The quick draw and the ugly.
Quick draw we got.
I love that we just keep the third one
I
called
honestly
the
don't
ugly.
think I'd call it a quick draw, but I also don't want to just call it a pistolero.
Just the quick,
Ah, the quick. Yeah, there we go.
the quick,
And the ugly.
the deadly, and the,
The deadly
ugly.
and the ugly. I love it. You can come sit next to us if you want. No.
It's okay.
You sure? Oh, yeah. Lord Scritch is in the background,
Lurking.
lurking.
So yeah. So those will be our archetypes, and you pick those at third level as per.
I love how-
as per usual.
So, and then ability score improvement.
Yeah.
At
So
fourth
that's
level.
pretty standard at
Yeah.
fourth.
Fifth level.
No, is it? Yeah, fifth level. What do we want fifth level to be? What is the
Fifth
big?
level-
What is the big thing
Yeah.
that outstands of the
Oh,
other
extra
classes?
attack.
Extra attack.
Extra
Extra
attack.
attack.
Fifth level.
Okay.
Which I think is all. Anyone who gets extra attack at fifth level, I'm pretty sure that's all they get.
Yes.
Barbarian, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I think
Barbarian,
you're right.
fighter,
Ranger,
Ranger,
Paladin.
Paladin.
Yeah, all the
yeah,
combat
all of those
people.
get it. No, just the Paladin. I thought the Paladin got it at sixth.
I'm pretty sure they get it at fifth.
Okay, yeah, fifth.
I'm pretty sure everyone who
That's
gets it
fifth
gets
or
it at
sixth.
fifth.
Fifth
Yeah.
or sixth, something around there.
All right, so the extra
We
attack.
know what we're talking about.
All right, so in terms of when archetype abilities become available,
Do we want to follow the fighter path?
Third, obviously,
Third.
as you jump into it,
Let me see.
I want to say from our previous experience, it's about every 3 levels.
that's
Okay,
what I
so-
was
Past
thinking.
that,
Third, 7th,
6 or
10th.
7.
15th, and 18th.
I'm happy following the fighter.
Okay, so third.
Hold on, let me repeat
Third,
it.
I'll just make
seventh.
a note here.
Hold on.
3, 7.
Third, 7th, 10th, 15th, and 18th.
Sounds good. So we'll reserve those, which means we need something for
Ninth.
6.
Sixth level.
Sixth level. No, sorry. Sixth, in for the fighter, it's ability score improvement.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were going to give the gunslinger the extra ability scores like a fighter, I'd only do it for a limited range of levels as opposed to the fighter getting it for like most of them, and I'd almost limit it more than usual. But I don't feel like that's really a gunslinger
Yeah,
thing.
I don't think that's a gunslinger thing. So Oh, thank you, Zion Energy, for the follow.
Thank you.
Woohoo! I think that was a follow.
It was a something.
Zion Energy
No, that was a
said,
subscription.
Aha!
"Hey,
Yay! Thank you for the
thank
subscription.
you." He says, interesting. Generally think of classes off of book classes. Thinking Jin from sufficiently advanced magic if thinking of a gunslinger in D&D. Killer Rabbit 13. Wax and Wayne from the Sandersons novels for me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Wax and Wayne. Yes.
Zion Energy,
that is.
no worries.
Oh,
Forget I
we'll have to educate you.
Zion Energy, no worries. Forgot I had a free subscription.
Yes,
well, thank
and
you
so
for
if
giving
have
it to
Twitch Prime,
us.
If you have Twitch Prime, you get one free subscription per month. You do have to re-up it every month, but you get one free every month. And Killer Wabbit is the latest follower, and thank you. You are my Mississippi peeps. Thank you so much.
Zion Energy,
Yeah.
haven't started Sanderson's series yet. I haven't either, but I really want to.
You need to.
I don't have.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what that is.
I need to just go to a
I will
library.
educate you, Nate.
Which one is it that they're talking about? Which?
Wax and Wayne is the second series in the Mistborn world.
Okay.
So back to
Back to
our
the
6th level.
Right.
Now that we've
Okay.
gone off into the Twitch weeds, thank you guys.
So we don't want to do ability scores.
Nah,
No, I don't
that's.
think
I feel
so.
like that's a very special thing for the fighter, and I
Yeah,
don't feel like
okay.
it fits the other classes.
Yeah.
What does a ranger get at 6th level?
Let me check.
It might be ability. It might be the archetype stuff.
Let me check the ranger stuff.
Ranger gets favorite enemy and natural explorer improvements.
Oh, they just get another natural enemy.
What does a paladin get?
Paladin. What does a paladin get today? At 6th
Paladin.
level. Quit looking faster than I can.
Or a protection.
Or a
yeah.
protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
Greatly to the barbarian. No, they don't get anything at 7th level. Ooh,
That was anticlimactic.
at 6th level, should we give them advantage on initiative rolls?
No, I actually think that should be. I have an idea for how to incorporate that, but I think that goes with one of the archetypes,
Okay.
and I
Yeah,
think
that's
it
gonna be the
costs a
quick.
grip point.
That's going to be the quick.
And I think it costs a grip point to have
Oh,
advantage on
absolutely.
initiative.
Alright.
Having played a revised ranger,
Absolutely.
and that is a broken option.
Okay.
Which is why Revised Ranger is not actually official yet. So.
Sorry, I'm just right now. I'm looking to see if there's
Man,
anything. at
6th level's just a little too early to have it be one of the levels where you don't get anything.
Yeah, 6th
Yeah.
level. 6th level is like 2nd
I wouldn't
level.
want
You
to do
don't
that
know what
any
to give
earlier
it.
than 8.
Yeah.
Because you're still sort of
Um,
building up your character.
So the
6th
monk,
level,
the monks, just their hands become magical.
6th level is that the first level of tier 2 or is it the second?
That is the second, because it's okay. So
One
first
through-
tier is 1 through 4, then it's 5 through 9, then it's 10 through 14, then it's 15 to 20.
So,
So the,
Brayden, you're going to be the DM. You're a good person to ask this for.
Uh-huh.
How is the ability to resist non-magical damage going to come into play with guns?
I don't think a lot of things are gonna be resistant to magic, because most of the time you're gonna be fighting NPCs.
Right.
Maybe you'll find a
We're going to be
magical-
fighting muggles.
Yeah, you're gonna be fighting muggles. Maybe once in a while you'll come across like a caster or a cleric who might have a spell to resist themselves, or maybe an ancient monster that has resistance. But for the most part, you're not gonna have
So it's
too much resistance.
it won't really be important for the gunslinger to have their guns count as magical. So
Right.
because that's what the
Probably
monk
not.
gets, and that's useful in standard D&D. But if we're not going to be incorporating that to the monsters, that doesn't
but
matter.
but again, this is not specific. Boy, I'm having trouble talking today. I
Don't worry, so
swear I
am
haven't had anything to drink today.
Why not?
I'm trying, for me at
Keep-
least,
keeping this more
This is more
useful.
generally. This is a more general thing and not specific
Okay.
to Braden's game.
Then let's
Yeah.
say any attack with a firearm counts as magical for the purpose of overcoming damage resistance. And maybe this is where you start getting to craft your own bullets?
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
We can come back to it.
There
Should
should
we
be like
decide?
a set amount per day though.
Yes.
Yes.
We could say you can
Or-
only craft 2 in an hour. I don't know. Or you can craft 1 round. You can craft 6 bullets per day.
Or you could do like intelligence mod.
No.
I don't know.
No, because you don't want to tie them to too many different attributes.
Yeah,
Like,
we're already
Three
sorta-
is the maximum you should do.
and we're already
that you
kinda
should give
looking at
them-
Dex,
yeah.
Constitution,
3 is the
and
maximum.
wisdom.
Yeah, three is the maximum you should give, but 2 of them you should be, because we're having dexterity, and you can either go Constitution or Wisdom. That's the 3.
Yeah, though you
That's
don't want
the
to tie
three
them
mags.
anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question is, are they able to just craft a small number of bullets every day,
No,
or
I
do they
think-
have to pay for materials to craft?
I think
them?
they need materials.
Yeah, I think
Do they have to pay for materials?
Because if we're keeping us in the long sense that you could play a gunslinger in fantasy as we're figuring this out, you're not gonna have bullets available all the time. So you
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
to
so
start
you
making
almost
your
have
own,
to
and
buy them.
you're not gonna find everyone who has bullets. So you're gonna have to craft your own.
If you can craft your
materials.
own, typically what you say is crafting a bullet costs X amount of gold, takes X amount of time, and you don't put an outer limit on how many they can craft in a day. You've
It's
limited them by saying you have this. It takes this long and it costs this much.
Yes.
In
But
which
what-
case, we would have to decide how much a bullet would cost to craft and how long it would take.
I think we should be considerably expensive, depending if we're keeping this kind of line of fantasy. But
If it's too expensive, the ability will the option will
Well, no,
never
I
get
mean, like,
used.
maybe a bit higher than a bullet, but a bit lower than like a weapon.
It definitely shouldn't cost you more to craft your own than it does to go buy them.
Right.
So what does ammunition cost?
Let me check. I think it's to be honest, I think it's like for 20 arrows, it's like 1 gold piece or something. If I'm
Yeah.
remembering correctly. If I can find the page that has
How
it.
have been buying arrows?
Did you even bother keeping track of
Yeah,
how many arrows you
it's
shot?
literally 20 arrows
usually don't
for.
use arrows.
It's literally 20 arrows for 1 gold.
I think it should be close to that.
I would say, given how much more damage the guns do, I would say like
Maybe
10
Or
bullets
12
for
bullets.
a gold, or 12.
12 if we're keeping it for 2 reloads.
So 12 bullets for a gold piece.
or whatever the
Or whatever the
equivalent is,
economy will be.
And
yeah.
then crafting should cost you half that amount. That's typically for consumables. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
crafting a healing potion with an herbalism kit
So
costs you half the normal cost to buy
Yeah.
one.
So
So 24 for 1 gold piece.
24 per gold piece.
We should probably get that down to an individual number for each bullet, but that's not going to be an even number.
Yeah.
So maybe we say it's 10 bullets for a gold piece so that our math is even.
Sorry,
or 20.
sorry, I need to
could
catch
go
up
with
on the
20.
chat. Killer Wabbit. Neither would have a D10. Winky face. Mwahahaha.
Yeah.
Zenergy. It is better than Kavovov from King Killer Chronicles.
Wait,
Yeah,
it's
they're
better
talking
than...
books. They're talking
Kavol?
books.
Yeah.
Quoth.
Quoth.
I have read that series.
From the King
ones that
Frog
are out.
Chronicles.
So Killer Wabbit, Brandon Sanderson lives in Utah, and he makes it a point to come to our FanX every time they have it.
Must be a reason to come to FanX.
I'm just saying.
Oh, guess what?
And they do two Comic Cons every year.
Guess what? Guess what got finished for me? My costume.
Ooh.
I'll have to show you guys after the stream.
So yeah,
Killer
he
Wabbit,
can
you should. My fave author at this point. He has fewer weird parts in his writing than Rothfuss. Zenergy.
You are
Soon
not
as I
wrong.
finish
You are not
Red
wrong.
Rising series, I will start it. Thanks for the suggestion, Killer Wabbit. Also, Lynch's Gentleman Bastard series is You Like Rothfuss. Also, Brandon Sanderson is a really nice guy. We got to meet him at Dragon Con.
Yeah.
And
so
then
I
Lord
think he's
Scrooge.
isn't Brandon Sanderson an adjunct professor at BYU?
Yep.
So yeah, he lives in Salt Lake City, like an hour and a half away from us. So I'm just
Zion
I'm
Energy
just
just
saying.
bought the Gentleman Bastard series from Audible. He had the credits to burn, and that one kept being suggested on his
okay,
list.
so we said we did say so let's say 20 gold piece, 20 per gold piece for crafting. How much time?
Oh, Zenergy, I do love the Dresden files. I do like those.
I would almost... Okay, so if we're going to say 20 bullets for 1 gold piece...
Over the course of what?
I would almost say that should take you like 8 hours or so.
So
like,
a long rest.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that should take you like
Yeah.
most of a day to craft that many bullets.
Because back at that
It was
point,
not
there's
that.
there's no like pre-done bullets. You
There's
have
not
to
that
note down.
chuka thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So 20 per gold piece per long rest.
Yes.
Do we want to break that down instead of just 20 to each individual bullet?
No.
Okay.
I think that's
Alright.
that's good. And then buying, and I need to probably make a point of making a note of this. Buying ammunition. I can't type.
Buying ammunition should be more expensive than that.
Yeah,
So
because
it's 10.
It should be 10 bullets for a gold piece if we're
10
keeping
per
with the
gold
half
piece.
for
Yeah.
crafting.
Okay.
And not differentiating between different kinds.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple.
If you're buying ammo, here's what it is. Alright.
Zenergy just said, can the characters purchase a casting for bullets to speed up the crafting? I would only say they could if for example, they were transporting a bullet making machine via a train. They could try and hijack it to make better bullets. But
I'd say that's a DM call.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
a
something I'd
call.
put in
that's
the
a
rules.
that's a
Yeah. That's
I
not a
would
general thing.
that's the only way I would allow my players to have one is if they stole it from a gun shop or something like that.
And then we can let DMs
Yeah.
figure out exactly how much faster that would make and cheaper that would make things, because, now it's their problem.
Yes.
So 7th becomes an archetype improvement, and 8th I think we could probably
Ability score.
take a break.
Like 8th is ability score.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So 9th would then probably be nothing.
10th.
Ability, or
I think there's
archetype,
usually
based on
something
fighter.
at 9th.
Yeah,
Some-
you do get something at 9th.
I think every class almost between like levels 7
No,
and
it's
10
usually no
has
usually
an empty level.
no. It's usually level 7 that's always the empty one. Depending on what the
Kind
Class
of what it
is.
is.
yeah.
I know Rangers level 9 I think is just you get nothing. You get some spell
Yeah,
slots, you get some
level
hit
9 you
points.
get nothing as a
Yeah,
ranger as well as
Paladin too.
13 and 17.
Yeah, so I would say level 9 is just going to be an empty level.
Just an empty
Usually
level.
it's usually the spellcasters that happens to
Okay,
because
that's
it
what-
assumes
that's what it is.
it assumes just giving you the next level of spells is good enough than
Right.
just giving you whatever. So
Okay.
if
Maybe
we come
maybe
back
we
to
can decide that
Yeah,
later. But
we-
I think that's
For now,
and then 10th would be another archetype
right
ability. So I think that's enough to work
that's
with now.
half of it. That's
So-
half of the class,
when one archetypes.
Archetypes.
except for the archetypes. Yes.
So how many archetypes do we need to do?
3.
3.
The quick, the deadly, and the ugly.
Well, no, I mean, how many archetypes do we need to do before we get to 10th level? Just because we're trying to get to 10th level, so it's
3
no, hold on.
abilities.
3. So start your starting ability, your 7th level ability, and the 10th level ability.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw out some ideas I had for each
Okay.
one. I think each archetype should get some more grit point uses specific to their archetype. So for those, I'm thinking the quick draw. He can spend a grit point. It's a bonus. It takes up his bonus action on his turn to have advantage on initiative, since he's all about being fast.
Yes. Double proficiency for aiming for the for the
Yeah, because it's
for the-
not proficiency.
Yeah, we tied that
the
to
double
wisdom.
your wisdom.
The ugly should be able to spend. This is my idea anyway.
Yeah.
Spend a grit point as a reaction when he takes damage. He's able to gain resistance to it. So he has resistance to all damage for the rest of his turn, and it's as a reaction to getting hit with an attack.
This is for the ugly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's
to
just
gain
tough.
resistance to
all damage
For
for
the
the
next
next turn,
turn.
but it costs a grit point and your reaction.
all damage or
just that
all
time.
non-magical damage.
all non-magical.
I would
damage.
be inclined to say all damage because you're using one of your grit points, which you only ever have a couple of.
You get 5.
It's a reaction to getting hit by something on your turn, and that's I think it fits with the idea that you're really tough. So I'd say that it is all damage since you're giving up a grip.
And if
I
only
love-
lasts.
I love
Only
the-
lasts till
I
your
love
next
the ugly.
turn.
I love the ugly class because it's like the bad hombre who's just like you shoot him and is like that did nothing and just
Right.
like
This
plucks
is the guy when you shoot them with like an arrow, they're like.
Yeah.
I love it.
Or this is the guy who like you're shooting at him as you run across town, and he is calmly walking after you because
Yeah.
there is no escape.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
I don't know what the
quick draw-
marksman's
What if we
thing should be.
What if we let him add his proficiency to aiming on top of his wisdom
as a grit point
as
and
a
a
grip
bonus
point?
action?
Yes.
Except he's already using his proficiency.
Is he
To aim?
to aim? No, it
The
takes a
aim.
wisdom to aim. Remember?
The aiming action with a gun.
Yeah. Adds your
Wisdom.
wisdom to your next shot, where you're already using your proficiency and
Maybe
your
he
dexterity.
gets to double his wisdom? Now, the only issue with with how that's going to work, you're already using... Oh, no, you're using an attack to aim, so it's fine to use a bonus action. Yeah, that's what I'd say. You get to spend a grip point, use a bonus action, you double your wisdom bonus to the aim.
Yes. So
double wisdom or double proficiency.
Ooh, I would...
probably go proficiency.
Actually, yeah, I'd go proficiency at that
Yeah.
point.
Wisdom, if you got +5 and you double it.
You're not going to
10.
have +5.
Well,
well-
but your proficiency will scale with you. Your wisdom won't necessarily
Yeah.
scale with
Yes.
you as your
Yeah.
level, so proficiency would
Yeah.
be more useful.
okay,
So
So
you're
you
going to
get
double.
to add double your proficiency bonus when you roll the attack.
and that's once
So-
per attack. So,
So
you
that
could
that
make sure
attack
you-
would still be your dexterity bonus plus your wisdom bonus plus double your proficiency bonus,
Yes.
right?
After,
So you still get the wisdom bonus
So-
from aiming,
so you
but you get an extra proficiency on top of
so
it.
you're going to burn a bonus action to
and a
burn
grip point.
and a grip point
To
And an attack.
and an
To
attack
aim.
to aim.
The alternative I can think of is spend a grip point, aim as a bonus action?
well,
Or
no. If we have
Now
that,
I like that.
if you were going to do that, though, I would stipulate that the aim lasts for every shot you take that turn.
yes.
Because you're giving up your bonus action just to avoid, to get an
Yeah.
extra attack. I'd want my aim to get to all of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I
agree with that.
Yeah.
So the sharpshooter is going to be the guy who can. You're going to be sure to hit.
Right, the sharpshooter is all about accuracy, and I
Yes.
think
Yes.
later on the sharpshooter should get the you know how there's the idea of like trick shots?
Yeah.
That
We-
should be a marksman or a sharpshooter only
Yeah.
feature. They're just so freaking accurate.
So they
that
can
get
they
trick
can do
shots.
like the aim for one of the legs, aim for the arm, disarm, that kind of stuff.
Or the like that, and I think it'd be good to say like, you know, someone's hanging from a rope, you can shoot the rope.
Right.
You can like you get those abilities.
Yeah, I agree.
At some point, maybe third level, I think the fast draw guy should get to reduce, like, just anytime he fans the hammer, it's only a -2 to each attack, not a -5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to be about drawing your weapon fast and getting off as many shots in as short a time as possible.
Then we should make
That's
his
his
we should make his next archetype ability make it so he has advantage on misfires or
Ooh.
something. Or he can re-roll one if it rolls a misfire. He can re-roll it once per day.
Could be good.
Okay.
All right, so real fast. So third level, you get those grip point features.
We hadn't. I was just making.
Yeah,
notes
yeah.
of them.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do we think those come at third level?
I think they should because
Yeah.
that gives it an extra
Alternatively,
ability.
maybe those come at like 6th level, and at 3rd level we get them instead of like an ability that requires their grip point, we just give them a static ability. So for the quick, it would just be fanning the hammer now is only a -2 penalty.
Instead of a -5.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
just anytime you fan the hammer at all. It doesn't cost you anything extra, that's just a static buff.
Okay.
Could we have the sharpshooter? They ignore three-quarter.
That's a
Cover.
feat.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a feat, so we won't necessarily go there.
What do we want to do for the marksman then?
I think third level's too early for the like specifically aiming at people's organs shot, so that's not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Disarming? Is that too early?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's too early for anything like that. I think we need to come up with just a static.
Well, this could be the thing where they can put more bullets in their gun for the sharpshooter or something.
That doesn't seem to me like a sharpshooter
Alright,
feature
what is-
because they're all about maximizing each shot.
What if?
What if they have advantage on? What if they have advantage on perception checks to see a target in fog, in cover, that kind of stuff? Would they have advantage on perception checks?
Rolling a perception check to see them is going to be dependent on how your DM rules, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I wouldn't say that because your DM might decide you don't have to roll. He might decide it doesn't matter what you roll, you can't see them.
Would third level? Would you think? Do you think it would be too powerful to ignore disadvantage at the extended ranges at third level for the sharpshooter?
Not necessarily. That does sort of negate the earlier grip point to do
What if?
that.
Well, what if
Yes, it
we?
does, so
What if
never
we
mind.
increased their range? So instead of whatever the range is, add 100 to it, or 50 or whatever, and then that increases. Okay.
That might get that might work if you were only using pistols, but with the rifle and other things, that might start to move into like
Stupid
stupid
ranges.
range territory where it's
Okay.
like that's so far away you can't even see what you're aiming
Okay.
at. But you
Right.
Well, let's come back to the marksman real quick. What about the ugly? Third level for the ugly. What do we want the third level? What do we want the ugly to be? Do we want him to be the tank? Do we want him to be the bad A?
He's definitely sort of the tank. I think his class is all like that archetype is all about you can take whatever punishment anybody throws at you and it doesn't even phase you. I would almost this might be too much for that level, but I would almost say you have resistance to critical hits. If someone gets a critical on you, you have resistance to the damage they just dealt. But that might
I like that.
penalize other people.
I like that ability, but I like it further up
Later.
the
Yeah, it's
tree.
kind of what I was thinking. That might be a further on ability.
What if starting at third level, and maybe we have to figure out how to make it retroactive, but starting at third level, when you gain hit points by leveling up, you add your proficiency bonus, as well as your constitution modifier
To what?
To hit points.
to hit points.
Oh,
I like that
I like
idea.
that.
That's a yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it scales up, so you get more and more as you go higher.
I wouldn't even say that it's retroactive. I'd just
No,
say from
yeah.
that point on, when you gain hit points, you add your proficiency bonus to the hit points.
That's
You're
great.
just by the end, you're just going to be such a tank.
You can take so many bullets.
This is going to be the guy who can walk through the middle of a gunfight and unfazed, didn't even blink.
Welcome to town, pilgrim. That's the guy who just like he comes into town and he's just like walking
It's
casually,
Mongo. It's Mongo
Yes.
riding in on the steer. is
and then
what
he's just
that
like,
is.
"Hello," and then he turns around to go into the saloon and you see he's got like 100 arrows in his back.
So
or something.
maybe for the ugly, what was the 18th? We give him the resistance.
Resistance to critical damage.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that.
What
Actually,
if-
at 18th, that might not be powerful enough because
It
that's
might
your
be.
last thing.
Well,
I'd say
we
that's
could-
maybe like
maybe a
a
13th.
15th or a 10th, but I
15th.
like that idea, but it's definitely
Yeah.
something to come back
What
to.
if for the marksman? What if we increased their critical chance so they can crit on a
There you
19 or a
go.
20?
Ah, yes.
Ah.
Yes. You crit
Yeah,
on a
there you
19
go.
or a 20, yes.
There we go. I had thought about
That's
that.
a really good
I had
idea.
thought about that, but I'm like, that's got to be long
So
further
is it
down the chain.
resistance to crit? So how?
If someone scores a critical hit, so if they're going to deal all that extra damage, all the damage that is dealt, you have resistance to it. You
Okay.
effectively half it.
so resistance to critical damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even when people hit you with a crit, it doesn't bother you.
So resistance to damage dealt by critical hits.
Yeah, they're talking about what books to read in chat, and I'm like,
I'm gonna have to go look through.
They're
I'm
like,
gonna
I
have to
need
go
to take-
rewatch this just to see what they're
that's
saying.
exactly what I was about to say. It's like, I just need to go watch this
Yeah.
again just for the notes.
Okay, and so third level for the deadly, we're going to
You
They
on
crit on a 19 or a 20.
with firearms.
And that can increase to an 18 at higher level.
Maybe.
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 Maybe. Well, maybe.
Maybe. I don't
Well-
think anybody gets it that often.
Yeah.
I thought someone did it like this extreme high levels.
It
No,
might be.
I
I
don't
know the champion archetype for fighters gets that as a feature at some point. But
Right. No, I meant like farther down the chain.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And so now we're up to our 10th level.
So 6th level is the grit features.
Sixth level is the grit features, and they're specific to for each archetype.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Are,
we had
are we
the-
going to add? Are we going to add grit features for the main
I
flow
think
as well?
so. I think later on.
We could do that
I
at
like
9.
the idea that your grit point, you'll never really have enough grit points to make use of all of them, but you will have a good amount of
Options.
options.
Yeah.
What if we did
to
that at
use.
9th then?
I think 9th might be a little too soon because I would want. The thing about grit points for just the base class is you want them to be applicable no matter which play style you're playing in, which means this next
Well, I
set's
mean,
going to be pretty
okay.
powerful.
Well, I mean, we're doing them every 3 because we have it first level, 3rd level, 6th level, 9th
No,
level.
they're not getting them at 3rd level.
Oh, that's right.
Those grit features are now at
Sorry,
7th
I
level.
forgot about that. Yeah. So every
Six.
6th level.
Is it 6 or
It's 7th.
Seventh.
6th is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
crafting and the
I
other thing.
messed that
Because
up.
we're using the fighter progression, so it's first or it's 3rd, 7th, 10th, whatever.
Anything else we wish to polish?
10th. Well, we have to decide
gotta
what they
work
get
on
at 10th
10th.
level.
10th
Okay.
level. So for
So we gave them
the
the
quick.
grits.
Okay, here's an idea Jordan told me about that I really like.
Okay.
The idea is if you have a gun holstered, the ability to use your initiative roll as an attack roll. And I want to kind of take that idea and say, what if it costs your reaction on your turn? But if your weapon is holstered, when you roll initiative, you can use your initiative roll as your attack roll, and you
To
get to
hit?
take an attack right at the very top of the initiative order. Since this is all about being fast. So right at the top, before anyone has even taken their turns, at essentially initiative count 20, you get to take a shot, but you use whatever you got for initiative, plus your bonuses, as the attack for that. And it uses up your reaction.
Uses your reaction for that.
I
for
kinda
the
like
first
that.
round.
Right.
Because it's like.
But basically-
But
combat.
only the first round.
Yeah,
Yes.
like you can only do this when initiative is being rolled. So it's something you get to do at the very first round, right at the top. You get to make a shot. Or maybe we want to say you can use this at the top of any round. It just uses up your reaction, but we are giving them an extra attack.
Yeah.
So I would say this is something
First
you get
round.
the very first round of combat right at the top, and you'll already have the feature to have advantage on your
so-
initiative.
So how does that work?
So everyone rolls initiative.
So say I got a 22.
You say, I'm going to use my reaction from my turn that I haven't taken yet. I'm using that right now. I'm taking my initiative roll. I'm adding my attack bonus, and I'm taking a shot right now. And you get to
At
draw
what
and
what
take a
that
shot
was? What
at
that was.
anybody in the combat. Right,
So
right before
say
anyone
I
acts.
got a 22, and I have a plus 10 to hit. It would be 32 on the initiative count to do that.
No, it would be... So you roll initiative normally.
Okay. So
The
I
DM
got a
takes it all
22.
down. So you go at initiative count 22. And then before we even move into initiative,
Okay.
you say, as a reaction, I'm going to make an attack. You take whatever you rolled on the dice for your initiative, not the dexterity bonus with it,
'Kay.
just what you rolled. You add your attack bonus, and at the very start of the first round of combat, before anyone else goes, you get to draw your weapon and take a shot at somebody.
Okay, I like that.
And then after
'cause
that,
works.
it just flows.
Yeah,
normally.
I like that because it's with the fast. You're just kind of hurrying and
yeah.
firing.
May I add an addendum to that? Once you have burned your initiative that way, you have to re-roll initiative.
Ooh, I kind of like that
I like it. I'm down.
I like
I
it.
think that's cool.
because you can either get higher or lower.
You could go
Yes.
higher, or you could go
Yeah.
lower.
I like that because
Good way to offset it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's a
Now-
gamble
now.
to do this.
Yes.
You can either get higher or lower than your initiative.
But you're getting
you
a
just
shot
don't
off
know
before
where.
anybody
Yeah.
else gets to
Now
do
you've
anything.
already burned your grit point as well for your
If you've
advantage.
got advantage.
So if you've rolled your advantage for the initial roll, you don't get it for the second.
Right, you'd have to spend a grit point. Well, you don't even have a bonus action, so yeah, you just can't get the advantage again.
Yeah,
but you do
you
get a
wouldn't
shot
even get it.
off
You get a shot off.
right at the start.
Right.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So, honestly, what I would probably do if I was playing this class is I would roll normally the first time, take my shot,
Reroll.
and then use my bonus action to get advantage on initiative, so I'm more likely to go up top.
Yeah.
But that still burns my reaction and my bonus action for the first round of
and
combat.
all you would do is be shooting.
I mean, you're a gunslinger. What else were you
Yeah.
going to do?
Yeah.
So
All right.
on the first round of combat, if your gun is holstered, use your reaction to use your initiative roll as an attack roll on initiative count 20, then re-roll your initiative.
Right.
Mhm.
And it means that when it gets around to your turn, your gun is already out of its holster because
Yep.
you already would have drawn it
Yes.
Yep.
as essentially a free action right at the start.
Yep.
Yes.
I kind of like that for a 10th level ability.
Yeah.
That's pretty killer. I like that one.
I think 10th level's a good time for the marksman to start getting the ability to do those like trick shots where you can target
Okay.
specific
Mhm.
things. I don't know how we want to phrase that. I like the
Yeah.
idea of maybe 10th level is you get to target different body parts, and if you score a hit, maybe like it uses.
You spend a grit point.
I wouldn't
to-
say you spend a grip
Okay.
point because you're only gonna have around maybe 3 or 4 for most people.
Maybe called shots add to the DC or the armor class to hit, but deal extra damage.
I wouldn't have them all deal extra damage. I would say it depends. So, like, if I shoot you in the leg, maybe I'm able to reduce your movement speed. I shoot you in the arm, I'm able to disarm you.
Almost need to come up with some sort of table, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm thinking you only need, like, a head, a torso, an arm, and a leg shot,
Yeah.
essentially. Maybe... I'd almost be inclined to say it uses your reaction to make one of those shots. So it doesn't increase the DC, but it costs you your reaction, so you can only ever make one in a turn. And you're burning your reaction for that round, but you get to add in this extra effect if you hit.
Okay. Yeah.
So we can do like disarm, hit their legs so they go slower. The precision one where you can hit the rope.
I would... Actually, I'd leave that for a
Okay.
later thing. So I would say a headshot gives them either, depending on how powerful you wanted to make it, either it could, like, stun them, or it would give them disadvantage on their attacks or something. Like, it's a head wound.
DC equal to your proficiency
as
plus
per
your
the-
modifier.
As per the normal, your DC would be, like, 8 plus your dex bonus plus your proficiency bonus.
Oh no, it would
to
be
resist the
no. I
effects.
think it should be wisdom because if we're keeping it to the thing where
Yeah.
it's like wisdom
six
is
for it
what
to
you're
be
aiming
wisdom.
with, I think it's wisdom.
So wisdom plus
Okay.
proficiency plus 8. So I need to.
So
I had a-
your headshot would be like a stun or a disadvantage.
I like the idea of stun.
Stun,
The arm shots would
disarm.
disarm people.
Leg shots would
Leg
give them
shots
a
would-
-10 or.
I would
half
say
speed.
leg shots either reduce their movement to 0 or cut their movement in half.
Yeah, I'd say
And
half.
I would
I'd
say
half.
the torso shot deals extra damage.
An extra D6
Maybe.
or an extra or damage equal to your or damage on top equal to your wisdom plus your proficiency bonus.
Nah.
Okay.
that might be too much.
Or damage equal to your level?
Damage equal to that. If this is a 10th level ability, that could be a plus 10 to the damage. That's a lot.
No, level divided by 2 rounded down.
So
Okay.
10 or 5? Okay.
So you start out at 5, and then you get.
It's always you always know how much damage you'll add, so there's not a lot of variance in the extra damage,
Yeah.
but it's only gonna be handicapped at 10 at level 20.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I like that.
Because then, if you also get Sharpshooter, you'll do an extra 20 if you hit with
And you
that
take
ability,
yeah.
but then,
Gunslinger level divided by 2 rounded down.
Yes.
yes.
For sure.
I had an idea for the ugly. I don't know, because the Barbarian gets this, but they can't be charmed or something like that at 10th level, where they're not, like, you can't be charmed, you can't be frightened, you can't be mentally changed or something like that.
Yes, Keith.
So we were talking the DC that only DC for stun, to
And
resist the stun and resist the disarm.
I would almost say the DC would be for all of the effects.
Okay.
So you don't get to deal the extra damage. You don't get to reduce their speed.
Automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they get to make a con
DC
save
Con save
It'd be
equal
a
to
con save
8 plus your...
with a DC of
with
8
your
plus your
con
wisdom plus your
save.
proficiency.
Yes.
Equals 8 plus wisdom.
Ooh, Killer Rabbit, Steamheart, yes. I love Steelheart. I love that book series.
So
Is it-
wisdom plus proficiency.
Wisdom...
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the standard formula. Wisdom's the
Yeah.
ability for it.
Got it.
Yeah, Steelheart is basically Brandon Sanderson's take on superheroes. I loved the first book. I still need to finish it, though, but I really do love Steelheart.
So the ugly 10th level ability.
The ugly 10th level.
I was
You said
thinking...
you
I
have
was
some-
thinking... What if they are immune to being charmed, frightened, anything else we want to chuck in there?
Not
or-
sure about immunity. Maybe give them advantage on those.
I almost feel, compared to the other two, I almost feel like that's kind of a letdown.
Yeah. At 10th level, it kind of is.
Yeah. What do we want?
Okay, so have an idea. We have to decide how to implement it, but somehow you're able to essentially ignore damage for a little while. Not that you don't take the damage. I mean the effects of taking that damage. So let's say let's say in one round somebody deals 20 points of damage to you. You are somehow able to put off having to actually deal with the effects of taking 20 more points of damage for like a round or like, a couple rounds. So essentially, once that time frame is up, all the damage you have accumulated over that period comes all at once. But you can almost buy yourself like a little padding there to put it off.
Do we want to do that if, like, you go under 0, you stay up until for a round?
I would
or...
almost say like it's a bonus action or something, and it lasts for a number of rounds equal to your Constitution modifier, and any damage and I'd almost say like any debilitating effects you put off until that time is up.
I kind of like that. Like,
So you get to ignore what people have done to you for a little bit of time, and then once that's done, it all hits right
we
at
could call
once.
it red haze in the eyes, because like there's stories where like people get only see through a red haze, and all they can do is focus on what they're doing, and
Yeah.
then after their heart stops pumping and they've relaxed a little bit, they're like,
It's like,
oh crap, I have 3 bullet holes.
Yeah.
It's like a modified rage, almost.
Yeah.
It's except instead of you just like going into this mindless rage, it's almost like this stone cold like I'm just ignoring the fact that I am in pain for right now.
Yeah.
Just to do it. I like that. Equal
so for
to your
a number of rounds.
Equal to your Constitution modifier.
I dig that.
So
Yeah.
at maximum, you can only do this for 5 rounds, and I'd say this is something you can only do once per long rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when
That is an
I'd say
amazing ability.
a bonus
I
action
love
to
it.
activate, and you just ignore pretty much any condition or damage you would take within those rounds, and once that time's up, it all hits all at once.
So you had, and I like
And
how
then
it's a
you die.
bonus action and not a reaction. So you have to plan ahead. So if you get for example, a spell like sleep, you can't reaction to
Yeah.
stop that. You have
Ba-
had to have done a
basically-
bonus action to do it, in order to carry
I
on.
imagine this being like the chips are down, everyone in the party's hurt, and you guys are like right
This
on
is
that
it.
edge. Like, if we could just push a little more, we could take that guy out. So you just drop this, and for the next
5
probably
rounds.
what it would actually probably be is about 3 or 4 rounds. You can walk across the street. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they shoot at you. It doesn't matter that you're on fire. You can get up to him and put him in the ground. And then you
love
collapse.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's an amazing ability that's never been done before, except by barbarians,
And it makes
even then.
Constitution important.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
If you have a high constitution, you'll run.
I know barbarians do it in a
Yes.
totally different way.
I
They're
like the idea that it's like the reverse. Like they go into this mindless rage, and this is like hyper focused. Like
just
I,
shrugging
I'm
it
gonna
off.
get my goal,
and then
and
I'll
once
die.
I get it, then I can go.
It's like I will finish this bad guy off, and then I will die. But
And
until
it could
then,
potentially go like normally you just take like 10 or 15 points of damage each round, and you could react as things get worse. This way, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. By the way, you just took 50 points of damage. Make a con save to stay conscious.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then and now you're exhausted, and now you're charmed, and now everything comes all in one massive.
But hopefully you've
Shock,
taken
shock.
out the person that's charmed you, or someone who's put you to sleep. Hopefully, by then, you would have
So,
taken care
After
of
this
that.
lapse,
I like the
is-
idea of calling it red haze. Alternatively, we could call it dead man walking.
Yes, Dead Man Walking. I love Dead Man Walking.
Yeah.
It's a Dead Man Walking. That's an amazing name for it.
I have no idea which one of these archetypes I want to play more.
Yeah, it's like I want to play all of these now.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yes.
All effects.
The quick, the
All
Should
conditions
occur.
and all damage.
All effects. And all damage.
I hope you all are having as much fun as we are. Watching us fanboy
At
over things we're
once.
creating through the internet.
I don't know. They're still talking about books. So.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
can't blame
that's
them.
fine.
There's a lot of good books out
There
there.
are.
So we do already have one 15th level ability for the ugly. Do we want to go press forward, or do we
I
want
think
to?
we can. I think
codify
this is
what
a
we've
good.
got?
We've got half the class done.
Yeah.
We can work on the other
So
half
let's
another time, and
should
this
we-
gives us a chance to play test what we have
Yeah.
and see how exactly.
Should
it
we
works.
review it real quick?
So yeah, let's do a quick review for the Gunslinger. You get a D10 as your hit die.
Yes.
Your saving throws are Dexterity and Constitution.
Yes. Even if you decide to go Wisdom, Constitution is always
yeah,
good.
Constitution is always good. Your main stats are going to be your Dexterity and either your Constitution or Wisdom.
Yes.
depending
Depending on
which
if you
build
want to
wanna
snipe
go.
or if you want to take damage.
You get proficiency with light armor.
yes.
You get proficiency with all firearms and simple weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You get the skills from the fighter list. I'm not going to go through all of
Right,
that
but
now, but
that's
it's-
what you get.
basically that's your list. Pick 2.
Yep.
For equipment, you start off with a pistol and 30 rounds for it. You start off with leather armor. You can choose between a rifle, a shotgun, or a second pistol, and you have 15 rounds for whatever you pick up.
Mm-hmm.
The
Real
shotgun
fast.
has a special load, but will.
I assume we're not differentiating like these are pistol bullets, these are rifle bullets. I assume we're just saying bullets,
Yeah, we're just saying bullets.
Okay,
Yeah,
bullets.
simple.
just to keep it
Keep it
simple,
simple.
like
Yeah.
bullets.
Yeah, just keeping it simple. I mean, obviously, if you wanted to, you could go down the rabbit hole of special ammunition.
No.
but
Well, and-
that's DM
And technically,
fiat.
in the Old West, one of the selling points of a lot of the guns was everything is using the same caliber.
Exactly.
You only have to carry
Exactly.
Yes.
But shotguns are not the same.
Well, shotguns are
Shotguns are the edge case.
Yeah.
Yes, shotguns are the only things that we've kind of called out specifically
Yeah.
different. You also get one simple weapon, and you can choose between an explorer or a diplomat's pack. We didn't specify a specific background that would work well because backgrounds are one of those things you just kind of
Whatever.
Yeah.
whatever, and that's okay.
Oh, did we want to add Derringers to the class, or did we just want to leave that to be like they can go buy?
No,
one?
I don't think a Derringer would be something that the Gunslinger would
Okay.
want.
Yeah,
That's
It's
That's just
Probably
that's
not,
something
yes.
in the world. If they want to use it, that's
Right.
fine. But they gotta go buy it
Right,
themselves.
right, right.
it's really not that useful for them.
At first level, every gunslinger gets grit points. They're based on your Constitution modifier. Spending a grit point uses a bonus action and resets on a short rest, or you do regain one for every critical hit that you roll. Grit features. Did we put that down actually for the sharpshooter? I'm not sure that I ever did.
What?
That you
we'll
crit
get
on
there.
an 18 and a
Yeah.
19 and 20? I don't know.
Yeah, when we get there, because I remember that was a thing we wanted to do, and I don't remember if I wrote it down. Grit features, the list we give at the start, quick reload. So you can spend a grit point, and it becomes a bonus action.
A bonus action to fully reload a weapon.
I foresee a problem, and I just saw it. You're spending a bonus action to spend your grit point.
So I would say that I think that's easy. Either you take out that spending a grit point costs a bonus action, because like key points, they don't tell you every time you spend a key point it's a bonus action. Each ability with key points says it uses a
Okay.
bonus action. You spend one key point.
For example, you can dodge. You can hit twice as a bonus action. But then there's stuff like you can do a stunning strike as a bonus action. You can do a
As a
stunning strike every
reaction,
time.
yeah.
No, not as a reaction.
It says every
Anytime
time you
hit.
land a hit, you can spend a key point to do this.
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, you stipulate
Okay.
what it costs in the actual ability, not
Got it,
in
got it,
grit
got it,
points
got
as
it,
a
got
whole.
it. So quick reload, fully reloading now is a bonus action instead of a full action.
Should you spend a grip
Should
point?
you spend the grit point? You can spend a grit point to negate the disadvantage against melee on initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we're talking
if
about
you draw your gun, you do not have to take any negative to your initiative roll.
which goes
if someone's
back to
holding
our,
a melee
which
weapon.
goes back to our gun, the additional gunplay rules.
We'll have to
that we talked
attach the
about.
gunplay rules to the class.
Right,
for sure.
The final one, we can shoot to long distance without disadvantage. So spending a grit point, you can negate disadvantage on
On
long
extreme
range,
range,
on extreme
yes.
ranges.
I like that.
Also at first level, you gain the ability we call the dangerous reputation, where you have advantage on intimidation checks, but you use your constitution modifier instead of your charisma modifier.
Yes.
At second level, you pick a fighting style. You can either, what does that say? You either get a bonus to hit or a bonus to your damage.
We will need to rewrite dueling. Here's the question. So dueling as written says it has to be a melee weapon. Obviously we're changing that to a firearm.
Right.
And it says that it says that it can't be a two-handed weapon. It has to, so you cannot have a melee weapon in the other hand.
So could we stipulate if you're only using one gun?
I would stipulate that it adds +2
Damage.
to damage if you're only using one gun. That way you still gain that benefit if you're using a rifle or a shotgun, because if we just adapt dueling as written, rifles and shotguns wouldn't get the bonus to damage.
Yeah,
only pistols would.
so we won't take dueling specifically.
Right, it's the same
but
idea,
the
but
same
it's
idea.
+2 to your damage so long as you're only wielding one firearm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can get behind that. And the bonus to hit was based on what? What was it based on something? Or was
Archery.
Okay.
+2 to ranged attacks. I would just rewrite it to say you get +2 to any firearm attack.
So,
But
but
yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
idea
Yep.
for those. So either +2 to hit or
+2 to attack.
damage.
And I don't think we're going to do anything else with those. I think it's just going to be those two.
Yeah, I
just
think
the-
that's
just
good.
Yeah.
Those are applicable to every gunslinger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third level, you pick your archetype, and we'll get to those in
The
a
quick, the
minute.
sharp, and the ugly.
It's the quick, the deadly, or the ugly.
Yeah.
Fourth level, as per normal, your ability score increase.
Up
or
feet,
feet, if
whatever you wanna
if
do.
you'd rather go
8th,
that way.
12th,
And
16th,
8th,
and
12th,
Yep,
16th,
all those
however
levels.
goes,
Yeah.
etc. Fifth level, you get an extra attack. So you're now
Mhm.
taking 2 shots on an attack action.
We will have to stipulate with that. You get that extra attack also at 11th level, but it only applies when you're using firearms.
Yes.
So the first one is for
I say
everything.
all of them, only firearms.
Okay. Extra firearm attack.
Yes, because if you give a gunslinger a sword, they're only going to be able to swing it once without knowing, like, if you
Yeah.
swing and then go like this,
Yeah, sounds good.
whatever.
So 5th level, you get an extra firearm attack. 6th level, magic damage for overcoming resistance and crafting of bullets. 7th is an
Archetype.
archetype improvement. 8th is ability score. 9th,
Ninth is
we decided
We
was
didn't-
nothing.
We
For
left
now.
it. We left it.
For
We
at
left
now.
it
nothing.
blank, but we had an idea.
Did we have an idea?
I didn't have any ideas.
Oh, I said I thought we were doing every 3rd level. We add another grit thing, but we didn't do it
And
at
that's
3rd.
not a-
I thought we were
that's
doing.
That's
it
not a
at
bad
3rd.
idea.
idea.
I just don't have any grid ideas for 9th level at the moment.
We could come
So,
up with 2,
Possible grit feature.
because I can't think of something like the main class could
Right,
have
yeah.
more
Yeah.
grit
That-
points.
Yeah,
in.
that would be the only thing that
Right.
we'd have to sort of think
Ooh.
about that.
Ooh, you bonus action. Actually, I wouldn't even say. I would say it doesn't cost anything. You can spend a grit point, and for that turn, your extra attack features apply to all weapons.
Ah.
So in a pinch, you can get those extra attacks in, but it'll cost you a grit point.
Okay.
Like if you're
So
if
if
you're
you-
like
if you
I
had
pulled
to-
out my Bowie knife.
Right. If you had to
stab
draw a
me.
melee weapon because you're like out of bullets or something, you can spend a grit point and still get your extra attacks in.
Okay.
I like that. That's
I
one
like
of them
that.
we can add.
And
So
the sacrifice is one of the
Would we
grit
want
points.
one, or would we want?
I feel
I'd say at least
at
two.
least
Okay.
2. 3 would be
3 would be
Yeah,
ideal, but I
ideal.
don't know if I can come up with
Yeah.
3. Oh man.
we could just say as a you can
Ooh,
spend a grit point to hide behind something.
You can spend a grit point. Let's see. Right now, clearing a jam is a regular action, a full action.
Yes.
Yeah?
It's a full action.
So-
yes.
Spend a grit point, clear a jam, either as a bonus action, or if we think we want to make this interesting, as a reaction. When you jam, as a reaction, spend a grit point, clear the jam.
I like it.
I like that.
I like that.
Okay, so
Because then, now at a higher level, you've dealt with your guns, you know how they work. Now you can spend a grit point to be like.
And you're still dealing with
Alright.
this very limited pool of, like, for most people, around 3 or 4 grit points.
Yeah.
So
So if you decide, oh, crap, I'm jammed.
you're only going to do that when you really need it.
Hmm. Could we do another one where you
so
can?
that's a reaction.
I would say that as a reaction to your gun jamming, spend a grit point, you can clear your weapon.
I would almost say we could do one. It kind of counteracts with that, but we could do one where you can spend a grit point to re-roll a misfire. But then that counteracts the what we just
And
came up
I
with.
kind of
but-
like the idea that there's not a lot you can do about the gun misfiring. There's a lot you can
Okay.
do to, like, recover from it,
Okay.
but your actual
Yeah.
gun misfiring, there's not a whole lot anyone gets to do.
All right. I really want to come up with a 3rd one real quick. So if anyone has any ideas, we've got.
So we can.
Could we do a grit point that helps with the intimidating thing? Could we do one where you can spend a grit point to re-roll an intimidation that you've done?
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the most annoying things is when you're in a social encounter and you just rolled terribly and
Yeah.
you blew the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you had
Um,
if you failed on a successful roll of your intimidation check, even with even if you have advantage, you can spend a grit point to re-roll again. Because with the last episode of Critical Role, that is a prime example of why that would be a
sucked.
perfect ability.
If they hadn't rolled poorly, they would have been okay, but no.
All right. So,
So there we go.
So at
Yeah.
9th level, we're actually giving some grit features.
Yeah. Because I feel like since 9th level, we're about to get to 10th.
At
I feel
10.
like that's a good point
Yeah.
to give them some extra
And they
grit
they
points.
don't get spells, so
They don't get
they
spells,
would
so,
normally
yeah.
just be out everything. So yeah, I think that's a good.
Yeah, that's a good.
And those are 3 useful things, no matter who you are as a gunslinger. There's
Yes.
going to become.
And it's not like where it's like ones where like the invocations where you have to pick which ones you want. These
You've
are
got
just
the
straight
list
up.
of things you can
Yeah,
do.
these are just straight up things you can have. I
It's
like
my
that.
favorite classes. They're like, you have here's your toolbox. You can only use them a couple times. Have fun with that.
Yeah. For the archetypes, we've got the quick, focusing on being fast on your draw. At 3rd level, you get to fan your fanning hammer is a -2 instead of a -5. Again, see the gunplay rules.
Yes.
7th level, you get a grit feature that gives you advantage on initiative.
Mm-hmm.
At 10th level,
This is the.
this is the fun one. On the first round, if your gun is in your holster, you can use a reaction to use your initiative roll as an attack on initiative count 20, and then re-roll your original initiative.
I really like that as the gunslinger. It's like roll initiative, get a quick shot off,
It's
and
exactly
then continue.
boom, and then combat starts.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And we don't have anything beyond 10th for that one. For the deadly, which is our sharpshooter,
At
at
3rd level,
you get your critical on either a 19 or a 20 with firearms.
yes.
At 7th level, your grit point feature is aiming becomes a bonus action and lasts the full round.
Mm-hmm.
You have to spend a grit for that, though,
Yes, which is useful.
which is useful. At 10th level, you get your trick shots, and we've got
Head, which
we've got the
stuns.
headshot.
Torso
which stuns
does an
them.
extra
Why did I
damage.
say use reaction?
It costs you a reaction to use a trick shot.
That's
Because
right.
it modifies a normal
Okay.
And then
yeah.
arms
And
for disarming.
Arms disarm,
legs to half. Did we
half
say half
movement.
movement?
And torso is extra damage, which is your gunslinger level divided by 2, rounded down. All of
Right,
those
yes.
effects can be resisted on a Constitution save equal to 8 times your wisdom plus your proficiency.
Yeah.
Pretty standard fare.
Yes. And then the ugly.
Did you write it down as 8 times your wisdom or 8 plus your wisdom?
I think I'd put down plus, but I can't see that far.
Well, if anyone sees times on there,
yeah,
we'll all know
it's
that that's
supposed to be plus. It's supposed to
You'll be
plus.
writing it down. You'll be
Um,
typing it.
For the ugly, we have at 3rd level, when you level up, from level 3 on, when you level up, you start adding your proficiency modifier to the hit points
Which I like,
that you
Which means you could have up to
a lot.
Yeah.
so 16 up to 16 per level or something like that.
A lot.
Depending on how you roll and that kind of stuff. That is insane.
gain. At 7th level, your grit point feature is use a reaction to gain resistance to all damage for 1 turn.
Mm-hmm.
At 10th level,
Which is the fun one.
you get Dead Man Walking. As a bonus action, you can ignore damage and debilitating abilities for a number of rounds equal to your Constitution modifier. After this lapses, all those effects and all of that damage hit you all at once.
I just really like the name of that one.
Dead
Man
Man Walking.
I in my mind, I just imagine this like bearded, really gruff dude walking down the street, and everyone's just shooting at him as
He's
fast as they
just-
can.
he's just-
Here he comes.
he's just
he's
John
he's
Wicking.
not even shooting. He's not even running. He is walking down the street at you.
Bobby's
It is
not
like
down yet.
the-
Keep firing, he'll
the
die.
relentless push of death coming
Yeah.
your way.
Bobby's
You can
not
almost
stopping.
call it- you
Keep
can almost call
firing.
it the Relentless, too.
That's kind of what I think
So,
too. Maybe we
yeah.
should change it to the relentless. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
I
what we
love.
like.
I think I like.
I like
Dead
the idea
Man
that it's the
Walking.
ugly because if you can take that many hits and shrug them off, you have got to be
Yeah.
just covered in scars.
And we do already have a 15th level ability for the ugly, which is resistance to damage dealt by critical hits. But
That
that's the only
seems
one
a bit underpowered at this point.
No, because
No, because it's always.
it's
Okay.
always.
Anytime
always
anyone
on.
gets a critical hit on you,
cut it in
however
half.
much damage they deal, yeah, you just cut it in half.
Okay.
You're
So-
just like, eh.
So,
Oh, that was my eye. No
So-
worries.
so that's the only one that we've got there. And then we've got buying ammo
Yeah.
and crafting ammo.
I
costs and
am
time.
actually quite
I'm
happy.
kinda
of-
I'm
happy
really
about it.
excited
quite
about
happy
this.
of
I think
what
this is
we've
going to be a
done.
lot of fun.
And honestly, with the write-up,
You might want to play Gunslinger.
I'm thinking some of our other players might actually
Yeah.
enjoy the class and the gunplay rules as we've got.
I think so.
I think.
The hardest part for me is going to be deciding which one of those archetypes I want to play as, because I like all of them.
No.
I don't think I'll do the marksman, because that's what Winterwolf was the last time we
Right.
played. But it's a hard choice between the fast and the ugly. Because the ability, oh
I
man,
love
the
how
ability
that's
to just
the
shrug
choice.
off damage. Oh.
Of course, we're starting at what, level 3?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
say level 3.
Okay. So,
But
so
still.
just into the archetype,
Yeah.
but still.
Oh man, the ugly would be the most amazing character to play. One of those people that just
So.
like takes a long drag of his cigar and then just eats the bud.
Yeah,
Well,
you are
it's
the
still
relentless
Yeah.
march of death.
yeah, pretty much. So I think we'll probably call it here. We've done.
Oh wait,
a lot
hold
of
on.
good work.
No, I just thought of one more thing that maybe to make that resistance to critical damage, since that doesn't come up all the time, I had an idea.
Okay,
Just so we have this down.
just so we have it down. 15th level.
So I don't know the numbers on it, but essentially the idea is you have the passive buff of ignoring levels of exhaustion. Like you can take, so like for instance, I think the way I'd phrase it is like each level of exhaustion you accrue counts as half a level. So you would have to take 2 levels of exhaustion to be hit with the effects of 1 level.
Or you ignore. You
The
ignore
idea in my head was like, you know, you're after your guy, right? So he's off running across the country trying to avoid you, and just like before, like you're not chasing it, you're slowly encroaching upon him. You can just keep going
You
and
come
going
up on
and
him in
going.
a desert, crawling his way towards the
So I was
watering
thinking-
hole as you just grab the back of his leg and walk there.
Since critical damage doesn't come up all that often, as like an aside to that, essentially you can take double. It takes twice as much exhaustion before you start feeling the
or you
effects.
ignore levels equal to your Constitution modifier.
Specifically, I was thinking, ooh, or that. I
Yeah.
was thinking like basically you could ignore sleep for a day and suffer no ill effects because you're just that.
I actually
tough.
like the idea of ignore.
exhaustion
Ignore
levels equal
exhaustion,
to your Constitution modifier.
But once you surpass it,
Everything hits all at once
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Because it's
So you're
just
safe so long as you stay within that range. But if you
Yeah.
go over, you take all of it.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's like the guy that's like dragging himself through the desert and he's like 100 feet away from the watering hole is like, I finally made it. He'll never get me in the middle of this desert. You just grab the back of his leg and drag him to the watering hole. It's like, no! How are you still alive?
Just imagine he's like almost there, and you just step on his wrist.
Oh,
It's the gunslinger from the tower.
oh yeah.
You don't stop. You can bury him alive, and he will just claw his way back out. This is the man that hell spat back out when you sent him there.
This is the kind of thing that the total like the Revenant movie.
So
this
this
is that
one,
guy.
So this one here is the Relentless.
Yeah, it's
The
just-
Relentless.
It's yeah.
Or the Revenant. I don't.
I like the Relentless because the idea is like he just doesn't stop.
Oh man, that was
Yeah.
because you have to be careful with that because if you have a +5 to Constitution,
And you
if
go
you
one
go
over,
you
dead.
die.
Wow.
You're dead.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
You could literally push yourself
to death. If
Which
you
I
have a-
think is appropriate.
Yes.
Yes. Thematically, it fits.
That's all of his abilities seem to be centered around this idea of like you can just keep going till you don't stop till you're dead.
Can't stop, won't stop. Drop the bass.
All right.
Oh,
so
man.
with those final little notes here in place, I think we're going to call it for the night. I think we've done a lot of good
That was
work.
excellent.
That was great.
We got some write-ups we need to do. Obviously, some polish.
some polish.
And make this.
I don't know if we'll
Play
start the
testable.
Western this week or I think we're just gonna do like session zeros for next week.
This
but we'll
week,
see.
This week I'm kind of iffy still.
No,
at this point,
I understand with you,
so,
but
well,
we'll
Well,
have
and if
to
we do
see.
session zeros, the nice thing is
I don't
you know,
have
we
to
don't
have,
all have to be
yeah, I
there
don't
for
have to
him.
have everyone for session zeros, but it would be nice to have you.
yeah, I understand. And like I say, it's not 100% that I won't be able to. It's
It's scheduling. I
I'm
understand.
not scheduled for the event that's happening Friday, but I'm in sort of this in case I need to be around
Right,
kind of
right.
holding pattern.
Mhm.
So
Do you have a casual cactus Twitter set up?
I do. I don't know how to use Twitter.
I was gonna say,
So
for anybody who's still watching, if
yeah.
you'd like a copy of these rules, we will get them out eventually.
somehow,
Yeah.
yeah. So
On
I'm
the
going to-
Twitters.
put up our Discord channel, and I'm also going to put up the YouTube channel, so you can join us there. Might actually put them up on. The Discord channel.
It's a good place to do it.
Once
Yeah, that'd be good.
once I've got everything
Yeah.
sort of lined out.
It'd be easy for me to find.
Yeah, and so our YouTube channel has all of the back episodes of this. This is only the second episode here of Cover Your
Are we going to
Assets.
continue the Gunslinger next time, or are we going to
Yeah,
go
I
to
think-
something
I
else?
think we
I kind of want to play test what we have, because if what we already have from 1 to 10 isn't working, I'm not sure I want to build more stuff on that yet.
that's fair.
And
so,
we should have some time before we're needing the rest of the
and then
levels.
we can come back to it. So maybe
Yeah.
have another idea for
I mean,
for
you
the
could-
next episode we do.
We'll figure something out.
You guys should get on our Discord and tell us what you would like to see next time.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good idea.
If you have any
Cool
D&D wikis for us to look at,
Yeah,
Oh, no.
crazy D&D wikis for us to take a look at. Cool ideas for a class. Cool ideas for items, magic weapons, backgrounds, new mechanics. We were talking about the profession mechanics, and that'll be something kind of interesting to take a look at as well. I know we do have our artificer here as well. Kind of wouldn't mind getting back into
Yeah, we
that
need to
and
finish
polishing
that.
that up as well.
should we ever feel the need?
Should we ever feel the need? So
I've got a couple things.
So yeah, we're gonna. Braden's got some ideas. So
I got the
we're-
Magister.
We've got a
wanted someone to
lot of
look at.
stuff to cover. There's a lot of fertile ground here. I see this one going long term.
Yeah.
So
I am enjoying
all of these
it.
will also be on the YouTube channel. So look for them there as well. What were you saying, Braden?
I was just saying, I can't. What was I say?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I was talking. I was ignoring you.
No, I was saying I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we will sort of cut it off here, and
Catch us tomorrow.
well, we will be live tomorrow, 5:30 Mountain Daylight Time. It is daylight.
Mountain Standard Time.
No, daylight time.
Oh.
Whatever the weird
Whatever
daylight
the weird
savings
time
thing
is,
is that
it's
we do,
5:30
it's that
Mountain
thing.
time.
Mountain.
5:30 Mountain Time. I leave it up to you guys to make the transition to your
Or just
local
wait for
time
the
zone.
notification.
Or just wait for the notification. We will be live with, I think, the full Glassbreakers Guild, chopping our way again through the jungles of Schult. Join us then. We look forward to seeing you. Good night, guys.
See ya.